Chapter 927. As a powerhouse, his dignity could not be violated. At the same time, face was even more important. Now that he had been stopped by a mere gatekeeper of Myriad Treasure Pavilion and even spoken to in such a manner, just where was he supposed to put his face? For a time, killing intent surged into his heart and his killing intent soared to the heavens. He casually slapped out at the gatekeeper who spoke. Powerful spiritual energy condensed into a palm that instantly appeared in front of the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper wanted to dodge, but this palm came too suddenly and his cultivation was too low. In the face of such a powerful move, he simply couldn't avoid it. Am I going to die? Looking at the huge palm filled with death energy that was about to drown him, the gatekeeper closed his eyes and relaxed his body, waiting for death to come. He knew that if a miracle didn't occur, he would undoubtedly die. But he didn't expect a miracle at all. Time slowly passed. The gatekeeper closed his eyes and waited for death to arrive. But after waiting for a long time, he still didn't feel the slightest bit of pain. He couldn't help but open his eyes. Pavilion. Pavilion Master? As he opened his eyes, an incomparably tall figure fell into his eyes. He was very familiar with this figure. Besides his own Pavilion Master, who else could it be? Myriad Treasure Pavilion Master, Lu Guiyun. His cultivation was at the peak of the late Divine Lord realm. There's nothing for you to do here. Go and treat your wounds. A voice sounded out. The gatekeeper's body fiercely trembled. He said, "Yes, this subordinate obeys." As he spoke, the people around him hurriedly stepped forward and helped him up, allowing him to walk through the door. As this scene fell into Hong Yu's eyes, the flames of anger in his heart instantly ignited. He never thought that Lu Guiyun wouldn't give him any face, all for the sake of a gatekeeper. Moreover, this gatekeeper had spoken rudely to him. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu coldly said, "Surname Lu, you want to start a fight with me over a subordinate?" As this scene fell into Lin Rei's eyes, the interest of watching a good play surged in his heart. He pulled the two women to the side and quietly watched. "Ho, Pavilion Master Hong, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but to kill someone in front of my Myriad Treasure Pavilion, and to kill one of my people, how can you say that? Moreover, there are so many forces here today. Aren't you slapping my face?" Speaking up to this point, Lu Guiyun sneered inwardly, "Damn it. When I go back I must teach that boy a lesson. Today he helped me vent my anger." However, although he was happy and satisfied, he also had more worries, especially about Hong Yu's matter. If he didn't handle it well, it was very likely that both sides would suffer losses, and this was a scene he didn't want to see. Because he knew that once the two clans had a disagreement, it would be the best opportunity for the other forces in the Death City. They might even take over the two clans without hesitation. "House Master, why don't we put this matter on hold for now? After all, we're here to participate in the auction and fellow Daoist Lin is still waiting for us." Just when the situation had become extremely rigid, Xiao Nye, who was behind Hong Yu, hurriedly reminded him. Hong Yu was surprised by Xiao Nye's words, then he turned to look at Lin Rei and nodded, "You're right. Today I'm mainly here to accompany fellow Daoist Lin." Then he looked up at Lu Guiyun, "Let's put this matter on hold for now, but don't think it's over." Hearing Hong Yu's words, Lu Guiyun was surprised. As an old rival, he knew Hong Yu very well. Normally, he would not let go of a small matter, but now he chose to let go of such a face-slapping matter. However, he didn't have time to think too much. After all, the other party had already said so. Lu Guiyun smiled and cupped his hands. "In that case, please, the auction is about to begin." He didn't even look at Lu Guiyun, his eyes fell on Lin Rei and the other two, and his tone became much gentler as he said, "Fellow Daoist Lin, let's go." "Okay." Lin Rei felt a little regretful about this ending, but when he thought about the auction, his regret disappeared without a trace. Jian Jian came to Hong Yu's side with his wife, then they slowly walked into the auction hall. However, Lu Guiyun, who was standing at the door, was confused as he watched Hong Yu and the others leave. Old Chen, go and find out who the young man and the two women beside Hong Yu are. Pavilion Master, there's no need to investigate. What? Looking at Old Chen, Lu Guiyun was puzzled. The young man beside Hong Yu is the one who destroyed the Dragon Tiger Sect yesterday, but I didn't expect that he would become a guest of honor in Hong Lu. Now that I think about it, the person that Hong Yu personally welcomed yesterday should be this person. What, it's him. Hearing this, Lu Guiyun was shocked, and his heart was in turmoil. However, the disciple that you told to go and treat his injuries stopped that young man. It is precisely because of that that the matter with Hong Yu occurred. As he spoke, the person called Old Chen sighed and did not say anything else. At this moment, Lu Guiyun's face was getting uglier and uglier. He didn't expect things to turn out like this, and he didn't expect Hong Yu to go to such lengths for that young man. Thinking of this, Lu Guiyun couldn't help but hate the disciple who had been guarding the door. Now, because of a disciple, he had offended a master and Hong Lu. As a businessman, this was undoubtedly a loss. I don't want to see that disciple again. You guys can see for yourselves. Helpless, what else could they do? Lu Guiyun said to Old Chen behind him, then turned and stepped into the auction hall. The auction hall was divided into 3 floors. The first floor was the hall, the second floor was the private rooms, and also the VIP rooms. Of course, the second floor was where the rogue cultivators stayed. However, the third floor was also where the young masters and sects of Death City and the surrounding cities stayed. Of course, those who could stay on the third floor had at least 2 or 3 god emperors in their families, otherwise, let alone entering, they would be obliterated before they could even set foot on the stairs. At this moment, Hong Yu wasn't unhappy because of the previous incident, perhaps because Lin Rei was by his side. Everyone came to the third floor under Hong Yu's lead, opened the invitation, looked at the room numbers, and found the corresponding room. With a quang dang, the door closed and everyone came to the room and sat down one by one. TSK, as expected of rich people, just the decoration of a room is so luxurious. Looking at the decoration of the room, Lin Rei couldn't help but praise. Lin Rei wasn't bragging, but the carpet that Lin Rei and the others were stepping on at this moment. This was the skin of a 9-tailed fox, and regardless of the price, although the 9-tailed fox wasn't a top-level monster beast, it could be said to be the most difficult to find in its clan. Yes, after all, they are rich, even our Hong Lu can't compare. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu smiled awkwardly. Pavilion Master Hong is too modest. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Rei smiled and said, your Hong Lu has so many God Emperor level beast skins hanging on the first floor. Although the fur of this 9-tailed fox is precious, your fur is even more expensive. Is that so? Looking at the mysterious smile on Lin Rei's face, Hong Yu couldn't see through him and didn't know what to say, so in the end, he chose to remain silent. Dong dong asterisk. Just when the atmosphere was extremely awkward, someone knocked on the door. Looking at the door, Hong Yu swore that no matter who it was at the door, he would be very grateful. Pavilion Master Hong, fellow Daoist Lin, this one is Lu Guiyun, sorry to disturb you. Lu Guiyun. Hearing this familiar voice, Hong Yu was taken aback and revealed an awkward expression. At the same time, he made the promise he had secretly muttered in his heart before. Turning his head to look at Lin Rei, he knew that Lu Guichen had come here now either to laugh at him or to look for Lin Rei. In this regard, Hong Yu was more inclined to the latter choice because Lin Rei's prestige was there for all to see. Let him in. Understanding Hong Yu's meaning, Lin Rei nodded and agreed. Good. Turning his head, he looked at the door. Come in. With a creak, the door opened and Lu Guiyun's figure appeared in front of Lin Rei and the others. At the same time, seeing that everyone in the room was staring at him, Lu Guiyun smiled awkwardly and said, Fellow Daoist Lin, I am really sorry. I just asked about what happened and it was really their fault. They have already been punished. I hope you will be magnanimous and not take it to heart. Seeing Lu Guiyun's actions, everyone was stunned, especially Hong Yu. He had never seen Lu Guiyun act like this before. It's fine. Seeing Lu Guiyun like this, Lin Rei waved his hand indifferently and said, you don't have to take it to heart. Yes. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu's heart was bursting with joy. Fellow Taoist Lu, may I know why you have come here? Humph. Lu Guiyun really didn't want to say anything to Hong Yu, but thinking of the impact he had on Lin Rei before, he smiled and said to Hong Yu, it's nothing. The auction is about to begin, so I came here to give you a booklet of the auction items. See what you like and prepare in advance. With that, a booklet as thick as a brick appeared in Lu Guiyun's hand. Then, with a surge of his cultivation, a burst of spiritual qi rushed out and dragged the booklet in front of Lin Rei. Fellow Taoist Lin, this is your first time here. If you see anything you like, feel free to bid for it. I, Lu Guiyun, will treat it as a gift for our first meeting. Lu Guiyun, you. Looking at Lu Guiyun, Hong Yu gnashed his teeth. Although these words didn't mean much, in Hong Yu's ears, it was an obvious provocation. However, Lin Rei didn't care about this. After all, his status couldn't be bought by a small auction item. Thank you. He nodded to Lu Guiyun and then ignored him. Instead, he handed the booklet to the two women. Take a look and see if there is anything you like. If there is, bid for it. Okay, we know. The two women were very talented when it came to buying things. They picked up the booklet and looked at it. As for Lin Rei, they seemed to have forgotten about him. Looking at the two women's excited faces, Lin Rei smiled and no longer said anything. He closed his eyes and waited for the auction to begin. Lin Rei closed his eyes, so Lu Guiyun didn't say anything. His purpose of coming here had been achieved, so he didn't stay. He cupped his hands to Lin Rei and then left. The room quieted down. Except for the sound of the two women turning the pages, there was no other sound. In the system, in the space where the little dragon was, Lin Rei stood in front of the little dragon and looked at him quietly. His expression was no longer as cold as before. Instead, there was a touch of gentleness. Opening his eyes and looking at Lin Rei, the little dragon was surprised and asked, "What are you doing here? There will be an auction in a while. I heard that there are some rare things. I thought that there might be something you need, so I came to tell you. If there really is something in a while, let me know and I'll buy it." Oh. Hearing this, the little dragon was surprised. Then, he nodded and said, "Okay, I know. Isn't it just an auction?" While speaking, a trace of excitement flashed in his eyes. Although he could hide it from others, in front of Lin Rei, that kind of emotion couldn't be hidden. In this regard, Lin Rei didn't say anything. Lin Rei had already seen through Little Dragon's stubbornness. Watch out for yourself. He reminded again, then left the system in a flash and returned to his original body. Below, on the first floor of the auction, more and more people were gathering. Time passed little by little and 4 hours had passed. At this moment, the doors of the auction were closed. At this moment, the atmosphere was extremely dry. Looking at the crowd below, Lin Rei knitted his brows. "Everyone, the auction is about to begin. Please be quiet for a while, okay?" At this moment, just as the crowd was making a racket, a beautiful and pleasant voice sounded in the entire auction hall. All of a sudden, it was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Knock knock. A series of footsteps sounded. Everyone's eyes fell on the auction stage. Everyone wanted to see who the speaker was. Of course, the most important thing was her face. Even Lin Rei couldn't help but look up. As the saying goes, a fair and graceful woman is a gentleman's dream. This was the nature of men. Humph. At the side, seeing her husband's shining eyes, her heart ached. She snorted coldly and turned her head away. Feeling his wife's strange behavior, Lin Rei smiled awkwardly and said, "Actually, it's nothing. It's just that her voice is a little special. Also, it's not as good as our Ing and Bing's voices. Then, he looked at Hong Yu and said, isn't that right, Tower Master Hong? Hong Yu was speechless. Hong Yu was speechless at Lin Rei's behavior, but he smiled and nodded in agreement. Yes, fellow Taoist Lin is right. Watch. Seeing Hong Yu's reaction, Lin Rei nodded in satisfaction. Then, he turned to Ing and Bing and smiled cheekily, completely losing his previous cold arrogance. Chapter 928. The atmosphere became awkward. Seeing his wife turn her head away and ignore him, Lin Rei didn't know what to do. He tried to coax her, but it didn't work. Alas, forget it, I'll apologize when I get back. Thinking of this, he turned around and looked at the auction stage on the first floor. At this time, after the sound of footsteps, a woman in a yellow dress took the initiative to step forward. She had delicate features, a small mouth, big eyes, and was very beautiful. No, she could be described as a fairy. Especially with her yellow dress, she was a god state expert. It could be said that this woman was a goddess. When the woman's real face appeared in front of everyone, the scene was not calm. People sitting on the first floor either began to tease her or began to whistle. The whole scene was chaotic. Oh, I didn't expect Lu Guiyun to be so willing to spend so much money. He even brought out his own daughter. It seems that there must be a lot of good things in this auction. At this time, in Lin Rei's private room on the third floor, Hong Yu exclaimed. Oh. Hearing Hong Yu say that the woman on the stage was Lu Guiyun's second daughter, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. Of course, he didn't look for the woman, but wanted to know what on earth was in this auction that could make Lu Guiyun spend so much money. Although he didn't know the rules of the auction house, he knew that if it could make his daughter appear, then it must be something big. Seeing that Lin Li was puzzled, Hong Yu paused for a moment before explaining, her name is Lu Yao, Lu Guiyun's second daughter. She is also the best auctioneer in the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion. Under normal circumstances, she won't appear and become an auctioneer. Only under special circumstances will she appear. As far as I can remember, Lu Yao has only appeared twice, and the things that were auctioned off at each auction were extremely shocking. Every single one of them was extremely rare. It could be said that they were existences that had already gone extinct. Is that so? Hearing Hong Yu's explanation, Lin Rei understood, and at the same time, he was looking forward to today's auction again. Although he was looking forward to it, he didn't believe that Hong Yu was talking about extinct existences. It was very simple, either they didn't know about them or they were extinct, and Lin Rei thought that this Wanbao Pavilion auction was just like that. Except for the extravagant decoration, he didn't feel anything special. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, a series of knocking sounds came from below. The sound was too loud, and it was mixed with a trace of spiritual aura that was almost undetectable. Interesting. Looking down at Lu Yao, the corners of Lin Rei's lips curled up slightly, and an amused smile appeared on his face. Just earlier, Lin Rei had been woken up by the sound of Lu Yao's tapping. In regards to the spiritual power that came from the tapping, perhaps others could not sense it very clearly. It could even be said that they could not sense it, but he could sense it very clearly. The most important thing was not the spiritual energy. Instead, it was her ability to control the spiritual energy. Lin Rei could sense that Lu Yao's control of spiritual energy was already very good. Of course, it was still a bit lacking compared to his own. However, Lin Rei dared to guarantee that there were not many people in the entire immortal realm who could reach this level. However, the majority of those who could reach this level were the big shots of the immortal realm, the peak existences. However, it was clear that Lu Yao was not, and her cultivation was only at the divine ancestor level. It was because of this that Lin Rei had a bit of interest in Lu Yao. It was just a bit. Everyone, you have come to the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion's auction to participate in the auction. It can be said that the items being auctioned this time are all rare existences. There is not a single one that is not rare. Here, I hope that everyone will be able to bid for the items that they desire. After saying this, she saluted everyone and swept her gaze across the second and third floors. Little beauty, since you've said it like this, let's begin. Look, we've been here for so long. If you don't begin, I fear that everyone will lose their patience. That's right, little beauty. Let's quickly begin. Let us see just how rare the items you speak of are. This was something that the people on the first floor could not help but say. However, as long as one was in the know, they would be able to understand. Although these people wanted to see the items being auctioned, the majority of them wanted to tease Lu Yao, who was too strong. In response to this, Lu Yao's expression did not change because of this. Instead, her smile became even wider, definitely. I'm just afraid that when the items are brought out, you won't have the money to buy them. Pfft, aside from the people that had spoken earlier, when the remaining people on the first floor heard Lu Yao's words, the majority of them began to laugh. Huh, well said. Speaking of, this 10,000 treasures pavilion's auction hall is truly something. Why is it that just anyone is allowed in? As I see it, this sort of poor person should just be thrown out or not allowed in. That's right, right. How could this sort of person have the nerve to speak? Really, I really feel embarrassed for you. The scene exploded. This scene was seen by everyone on the second and third floors. Seeing Lu Yao's actions, everyone was stunned, and their faces were filled with seriousness. This girl is not simple. To be able to use such a simple sentence to cause the people before her to become the target of public criticism. Heh, she really is quite skilled. That's right. Who knew that Lu Guiyun's second daughter would be so exceptional? It seems that not only will we need to be careful of Lu Guiyun, we will also need to pay close attention to his second daughter. In regards to Lu Yao's earlier actions, Hong Yu and Xiao Nia had become nervous. At this moment, their expressions became even more serious. What you said is correct. This girl is indeed not simple. Regardless of whether it is her intelligence or her cultivation, she is quite outstanding in all aspects. Looking at Hong Yu, Lin Li spoke. But as soon as these words came out of his mouth, he felt a cold aura emanate from next to him. Lin Li trembled, and sweat began to form on his forehead. Of course, you must know that this sort of person's achievements are not small. That's why my advice is that if you can become friends, do your best to become friends. Even if you can't become friends, don't become enemies with them. Otherwise, the ones that will suffer will be you. This. Looking at Lin Rui, Hong Yu's expression became even more serious. He did not think that Lin Rui's evaluation of Lu Yao would be so certain. Is that so? After speaking, Xiao Nia was startled. He then recovered and said with a smile, "Many thanks to fellow Daoist Lin's priceless advice. I, Hong Lu, will remember your words." What? Hearing Xiao Nia say this, Hong Yu was startled. Turning his head, he was puzzled. He had not yet reacted. Floor Master, fellow Daoist Lin's meaning is very clear. He does not want us to become enemies with the 10,000 treasures pavilion, especially Lu Guiyun's second daughter Lu Yao. It can even be said that we should do our best to get close to her. If we cannot get close to her, we should not offend her. But as I see it, his second daughter seems to be about the same age as you. If possible, the two of you can also, stop right there. Looking at Xiao Nia, Hong Yu rolled his eyes. Hong Yu directly rejected his suggestion. Fine. Understanding Hong Yu's personality, he did not force it, do as you see fit. Following this, he did not say anything else. At this moment, the situation below was very heated. Everyone was speechless, especially the people on the second and third floors. With a bang sound, the door to a private room on the second floor was kicked open. A young man in red clothes walked out with his hands on the eaves. With a cold and handsome face and a poker face, it was as if someone had cheated him of $1 million. All of you shut up. Those who do not want to participate in the auction, scram. If there is anyone else who is not here for the auction item, don't blame this young master for not being deliberate. You bastard, stop, stop, stop. You've gone crazy. At this time, the people on the first floor heard the sudden warning and felt very unhappy. But in the instant that they saw the person on the second floor speaking, everyone shut up. However, there was one person who did not shut up and still wanted to curse. In any case, someone to the side saw that he was about to curse and covered his mouth and reminded him. Kid, you've gone crazy. Do you know who he is? Even if you want to die, I'll trouble you to go out and die. Don't drag us in, do you understand? Otherwise, you will die very miserably. It's not just us. There's also that young master upstairs. If you really start cursing at him today, I fear that you won't be able to walk out of the city's gates. Oh, that's not right. It's not that you won't be able to walk out of the city's gates. You won't be able to walk out of the city's gates. After a moment of silence, the person that had cursed seemed to have understood something and nodded. Who, seeing that the person in his embrace had agreed, he let him go and retreated to the side without saying another word. As for the person that had been let go, he went to a corner and did not say another word. It was a small interlude. In regards to this small interlude, everyone did not pay much attention to it. Very quickly, everyone forgot about it, and things began to move on the right track. Alright, let's not waste any more words. The auction will begin. Next, let's invite the first item of today's auction. This item is a good start. I hope that everyone will not be stingy with their bids. After saying this, without waiting for anyone to speak, the attendant carried the item to Lu Yao's side. In his hand was a piece of black cloth, making it impossible for anyone to see what it was. Not bad. I never thought that this thing would be able to block out divine sense. Not bad. It seems that this Wanbao pavilion has something. Looking at the black cloth on the stage, Lin Rei thought to himself. It turned out that just now, in the instant that the attendant went up on stage, out of curiosity, Lin Rei had checked him out. Who knew that just as his divine sense approached the black cloth, it would be blocked by a layer of energy facing the north. In regards to this, Lin Rei could break through, but if he did so, he might be discovered by the people of Wanbao Pavilion. Thus, Lin Rei could only choose to give up. Alright, next, let me introduce what this item is. Seeing everyone's confusion, Lu Yao smiled. She reached out and removed the black cloth, revealing a small black cauldron. In the instant that the small cauldron appeared, everyone's high spirits were immediately extinguished. Seeing everyone's gloomy expressions, Lu Yao smiled. She was not affected by this scene. This item is a pill cauldron. Its origins are unknown, and its grade is unknown. However, it can be confirmed that it was found in the grave of an expert. Let's not talk about its appearance for now. Even a high-grade divine artifact would not be able to cut through it, and its materials are unknown. That's why it's the first item. If you're an alchemist present, I trust that you'll definitely be able to see how extraordinary this item is. As she spoke, she looked toward the second and third floors. Let's not waste any more words. The starting price for the first item is 3 million mid-grade divine crystals. Each increment will not be lower than 500,000. The auction will now begin. Everyone, please place your bids. When Lu Yao said this, the scene that he wanted to see did not appear. On the contrary, it was especially cold. It was so cold that it made one tremble in fear. Lu Yao was stunned by this scene. Her smile froze for a moment before returning to normal. 3,500,000. Just when Lu Yao and everyone else present felt that no one would bid for the pill cauldron, an elderly voice rang out. 3,500,000. 3,500,000. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone who wants to go higher? Lu Yao's face was full of smiles when she heard this voice. Kid, do you want this item? On the third floor, Lin Rei was in his room. At this moment, Lin Rei was staring at the small black cauldron on the stage. However, at this moment, the little dragon's voice rang out in his mind. Although this item isn't anything good, if you want it, you can bid for it. Although it's not that great, it'll still be of some use to you. Lin Rei rolled his eyes. He was rather speechless at the little dragon's words. If it was useful, then it was useful. If it wasn't, then it was useless. What did it mean by a little use? However, at this moment, Lin Rei had already decided that he wanted this small black cauldron for no other reason than to see the effects of its materials. Of course, with his current alchemy skills, he did not need a pill cauldron to refine pills. 3,500,000 going once. 3,500,000 going twice. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? 3,500,000 going thrice, 4 million. With a wow sound, the entire place boiled over. Even Lu Yao was stunned. She did not think that there would still be people who wanted to bid. However, in the instant that she was stunned, Lu Yao recovered. A smile appeared on her face. Was this not the scene that she wanted to see? 4 million, 4 million. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? On the second floor, in one of the rooms, an old man and a young man sat together. However, the old man's face was not very good. It could be described as ferocious. Humph, you actually dare to bid against this old man. Fine, this old man wants to see how your wealth can compare to this old man's. The old man was none other than the person who had just bid 3,500,000. At this moment, he was going all out against Lin Rei. 5 million. He could no longer remain calm. When the number of 5 million appeared, the people on the first floor were not in the pill cauldron. To them, 5 million was an astronomical figure. Do you want to bid? In the room on the third floor, seeing that his bid had been surpassed, Lin Rei became interested. 6 million. 7 million. 8 million. Seeing the voice that came from the second floor, Lin Rei's heart was filled with interest. When it comes to wealth, this great one has never lost to anyone. Something that came out of who knows where actually wants to bid against this venerable one. Fuck, I'll kill you. Bang. A muffled sound rang out from the second floor. The old man who had been bidding against Linley had a sinister look on his face. Originally, he had only wanted to use his wealth to crush Linley, but now, the price had risen to 8 million. 8 million was not a small amount anywhere. Even he was no exception. But now, he was already riding a tiger and could not back down. Wanting to back down was impossible. His face would not allow it, and his dignity would not allow it. Chapter 929. 10 million, this time, no one in the hall could remain calm. 10 million for a small cauldron that they did not know what use it had. In the eyes of others, this was a losing deal. However, the old man who called the price on the second floor did not think so. In his opinion, the 10 million was not for the small cauldron, but for his face. This 10 million really earned him face and dignity. Heh, 10 million. This person must be crazy. For such a small broken cauldron, if I were this old man, I would definitely strangle myself to death. A price of 10 million, it's really, shoo, don't say any more. Do you want to die? At this time, someone hurriedly reminded, most of the people on the second floor are powerful existences. If you say that, I'm afraid you'll provoke them. When the time comes, you won't even know how you died. As soon as these words were said, everyone present was stunned and then fell into silence. They understood the meaning behind this. In the private room of the old man on the second floor, when he heard the words of the people below, his face was gloomy and extremely ferocious. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. He raised his head and looked at the room where Lin Rei was on the third floor. A murderous aura flashed in his eyes as he coldly said to himself, "Humph, kid, this time you made me suffer a loss. How capable do I have to be?" As he spoke, he glanced at the side where no one came out and said, "Go, investigate." You must find out who is in there and tell me clearly which force it is. That person wants to go against me. Remember, if you can't find out, don't come back. Yes. A gloomy voice that sounded like a corpse from hell came from where the old man's eyes swept over. However, the moment he finished speaking, the space where the voice came from distorted. Then, a black shadow flashed and disappeared from the room. This scene fell into the eyes of the young man who had been silent all this time. He looked at the black shadow and then at the old man. He sighed and shook his head. Old who, why are you doing this to me? Isn't it just a small cauldron? Is there a need to be so serious? Humph, what do you know? He frowned and looked back at the stage. He coldly snorted and said, this matter is no longer a matter of money. Since someone has shouted, then I must fight to the end. After all, I am the vice-sect leader of the nameless sect. You, Sai, forget it. You can do whatever you want, as long as you don't go overboard. After all, our nameless sect is just a small sect that has just been formed. If you wantonly use your financial resources, I'm afraid it will do more harm than good to the stability of the sect. I won't say anything unnecessary. I just hope that you can think about it carefully before making a decision. After saying that, the young man closed his eyes again and calmly entered into cultivation. At this moment, the old man turned his head to look at the young man beside him. His face was filled with speechlessness. I don't know how you maintain your looks. You're clearly an old monster, but you only look like you're in your 20s. The old man thought as he looked at the young man. Then, he turned his head and looked at the auction stage again. This old man must obtain this item, regardless of the price. The more he thought about it, the more determined his gaze became. However, at this moment, the happiest was none other than the 10,000 bao pavilion. On the auction stage, Lu Yao was already grinning from ear to ear. It seems that this item has already reached his best price. Looking at the second and third floors, Lu Yao began to calculate. 10 million. In a room on the third floor, Lin Rei frowned slightly when he heard the new round of bids. What is this old man trying to do? Is there a need for him to go this far for a small cauldron? He could not figure it out. Looking at the small cauldron was not particularly good either. If not for the little dragon's sudden reminder, he probably would not even look at it. Buy it. Who knows, it might be useful. What do you think? The little dragon's voice sounded again. For a moment, Lin Rei rolled his eyes and nodded helplessly. All right, I'll listen to you. I'll listen to you. After saying that, he looked downstairs and said, 15 million mid-grade divine crystals. After saying that, in order to prevent anyone from increasing the price, Lin Rei did not wait for the auctioneer to speak and continued, no matter who makes the first bid, increase it by 3 million. There's no bottom line. Hiss. As soon as he said that, whether it was the first, second, or third floor, everyone on the first, second, or third floor gasped. They were extremely shocked. To be able to say something like that, it was not something that could be said as long as one had courage. Lin. Fellow Taoist Lin, is this worth it? That's only a small cauldron. Aren't you? That's right, fellow Taoist Lin. If you like the medicinal cauldron, I, Hong Lu, am willing to go for it for you. Hearing the words of his enemy, Lin Rei waved his hand and refused. You don't have to say anything about this. I've already decided that I must get this item. So, there's no point in saying anything more. For a moment, Hong Lu and Hong Lu did not say anything. Although they had not known each other for a long time, they had some understanding of Lin Rei's character. Since he had already made his decision, then they had to go all the way. On the auction stage, after recovering from Lin Rei's words, his smile became even wider. He hurriedly said, all right, 15 million. Is there anyone else? 15 million. Hearing this, the old man on the second floor called old who was very annoyed. However, the other party had already said that. No matter how much he wanted to get the small cauldron, there was nothing he could do. As long as it was a smart person, they would understand that since the other party dared to say this, they definitely had enough wealth to back up their words. In regards to this, Old Who could only give up. Although face was important, but, without money, face was useless. No one spoke. Even Old Who was the only one to bid, chose to give up. 15 million going once. 15 million going twice. Is there anyone who wants to go higher? 15 million going thrice. With a bang, Lu Yao used a small wooden hammer and fiercely slammed it down on the table. A muffled sound echoed through the entire auction hall. Congratulations to the buyer of the 6th room on the 3rd floor. You've successfully gotten off to a good start. Saying this, the attendant to the side was very skilled. In the instant that Lu Yao finished speaking, he carried the small cauldron to the 3rd floor. At this moment, everyone's gazes fell on the room that had bought the small cauldron for a high price of 15 million. Everyone wanted to see the face of the person who had made such a high bid. Knock, knock. The attendant came to the 3rd floor and knocked on the door to Lin Rei's room. Xiao Nia, who had already been prepared, opened the door. After receiving the item, he closed the door again. The entire process was completed in a single breath, and it was completed in an instant. Seeing this scene, the expectant crowd felt a sense of loss. However, they did not dwell too much on this matter. Alright, the first item has been auctioned. Let's move on to the second item. At this moment, the second item had already been auctioned. At this moment, Lin Rei's gaze fell on the small cauldron. He wanted to see what exactly was so special about it. It was actually able to make the little dragon think about it. That, you guys watch yourselves. Don't worry about me. Just bid for whatever you want. Oh, got it. Hearing their husband's words, the two nodded. They knew that Lin Rei had something to do now. Thus, the two tactfully nodded and did not say anything else. The small cauldron was stored in the system by Lin Rei. With a thought, the system transformed into Lin Rei's figure with his mental power. The two of them appeared in front of the little dragon at the same time. At this moment, the little dragon, who was sitting cross-legged on the water, did not wait for Lin Rei to speak and said, "Don't disturb me. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Do you understand?" Lin Rei was speechless. There was nothing he could do about it. Moreover, before he came in, he had already expected the little dragon to have such a reaction. Tisk, without looking at the little dragon, he turned around and went to the shore. He placed the small cauldron floating in front of him on the ground. Looking at the small cauldron, Lin Rei became excited. Although he did not know what this thing was and what level it was, if the little dragon said it was not bad, then it must be good. Thinking about it, he separated a trace of his mental power from his clone and sent it into the small cauldron. Rumble, Kacha, suddenly, Lin Rei's mind was no longer as calm as still water. Instead, a strange space appeared. In this space, other than darkness, there was only darkness. And in this darkness, there was a sound like rolling thunder. Lightning flashed from time to time, and there was an inexplicable sense of fear in his heart towards the existence of lightning flashes in the air. What is that thing? What is this place? Didn't I enter the small cauldron? Why did I appear here? Looking at this unfamiliar environment, Lin Rei could not help but be vigilant. The feeling of fear from the lightning flashes made him very unhappy. This feeling had not appeared for a long time. Boy, you are very good. Your mind is very firm, but I wonder how your strength is? Suddenly, a voice like the sound of the great Tao came from all directions. Lin Rei could not tell where this voice came from, and Lin Rei became even more vigilant. He spread out his divine sense, wanting to investigate more clearly. But what terrified Linley was that his divine sense was completely restricted here. His previously enormous divine sense was now only capable of clearly seeing things within a radius of 5 meters. At this moment, Lin Rei began to panic. This was the strangest thing he had encountered since he stepped on the path of cultivation. Looking around, He hesitated for a moment and asked, "You, who are you? Where is this? Where am I? How do I leave this place?" However, after a few minutes, Lin Ray only received silence in response. Regarding this, Lin Ray felt even more uncomfortable. Sigh. Sighing, Lin Ray could only walk forward helplessly. As a person of action, staying in the same place would only increase the burden in his heart. Since it was already like this, why not move forward? Perhaps an opportunity would appear. "I advise you not to move forward, or you will die very, very miserably. Even I will not be able to save you." However, the voice came again, and Lin Ray's forward step could not help but stop in the air. He did not dare to take another step forward. Returning to his face that was suspended in the air, a hint of meaning appeared, and he roared in a low voice, "Who are you? Either you come out openly, or don't speak. TSK, boy, you have quite a temper." At this moment, the voice did not choose to remain silent. However, even though Lin Ray tried his best to search for the direction of the voice, the final result made Lin Ray feel very helpless. "Don't waste your energy. You won't be able to find me. Rather than that, it is better to preserve your strength and wait for the next test." "What? Test?" Hearing this, Lin Ray frowned. There was a lot of information in this sentence. At this moment, Lin Ray vaguely sensed something, but he was not completely sure. "Yes, it is a test." Knowing what Lin Ray was thinking, the voice did not hide anything. "However, before that, you have to let me see your strength. Although you are very strong, you are now only a wisp of spiritual power. If you can pass the next test with your spiritual power, then you will have the opportunity to be tested." Lin Ray wanted to refuse the voice, but he found that his spiritual power could not be withdrawn at all. This was the first time a mother-in-law was choosing a son-in-law. "How is it? Are you ready? Damn, are you kidding? A wisp of spiritual power? What do you think a wisp of spiritual power can do?" Lin Ray protested against the mysterious person. If his original body was here, let alone a test, he would not even care about the test. However, in this space, there was a wisp of spiritual power, an existence that could not be wrong. Of course, setting up a formation and carving runes was still possible, but Lin Ray did not believe that he could pass the mysterious person's test with just these two things. "That is your business. I am only asking you, do you accept it or not?" The mysterious person spoke. His tone was filled with an aura that could not be disobeyed. "Can I refuse?" Lin Ray said helplessly. "No." The mysterious person answered very straightforwardly. Lin Ray did not know how to describe his current mood other than being speechless. "F***ck, then what are you talking about?" Saying that, Lin Ray raised his right hand, and sword fingers appeared. His eyes were fixed on the surroundings. His divine sense, which could only see 5 meters away, was released by Lin Ray. As the saying goes, having something is better than having nothing. Moreover, divine sense could see much more clearly with closed eyes. "Get ready, it is coming." Hearing this, Lin Ray became even more nervous. His muscles tensed up, and his mind was tense. His eyes and divine sense were constantly scanning the surroundings, in case danger suddenly approached. Kacha, just as Linley was nervously preparing for battle, a thunderous boom could be heard from above his head. F***ck, it can't be, right? Looking up, he saw a flash of white lightning appear in the originally pitch-black space. Prepare to endure the feast of lightning. I am very much looking forward to your performance. I hope you do not disappoint me." With that, the mysterious person's voice disappeared again, and he fell into silence. At this moment, in the system, the little dragon sitting on the lake suddenly opened his eyes. A light flashed through his eyes, and he turned his head to look at Lin Ray on the shore. Seeing his closed eyes, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and a strange smile appeared on his face. Hee, I hope you can subdue the artifact spirit in the devouring cauldron. Although he is damaged now, his strength is still quite terrifying. I hope you can persevere and obtain the recognition of the artifact spirit. This will be a good help for you when you enter the Holy World or even the Hongmeng realm. Chapter 930. Kacha, in the mysterious space, Lin Rei frowned as he looked at the rolling thunderclouds above his head. He was very worried. It's coming. Feeling the change in the thunderclouds above his head, Lin Rei suddenly said to himself. A teardrop as thick as a bucket rushed down like a thunder dragon and rushed towards Lin Rei's spiritual incarnation. It carried a destructive aura and an aura that made people fear it. It was so fast that it instantly arrived above Lin Rei's head. F***ck, is it necessary to be so ruthless? It's so big right from the start. Looking at the teardrop above his head, Lin Rei's face darkened and he complained. He then put his hands together and made mysterious and strange seals. At first, the speed was very slow and could be seen with the naked eye. But slowly, as time passed, Lin Rei's seals became faster and faster, until the last seal phantom appeared. Seal the formation, descend the heavens, complete. Suddenly, the vague outline of a large formation appeared 2 meters away from Lin Li's body, surrounding him in the center. Phew, I hope I can withstand this lightning tribulation. Feeling the danger above his head, he couldn't help but pray. Boom, the bucket-sized thunder dragon collided with the formation around Lin Rei, and a muffled sound rang out. Kacha, as if something had broken, the sound was not very loud, but Lin Rei heard it very clearly. It was as if it had appeared next to his ear. F***ck, no way, I just found out about the next round. Is it necessary to be so ruthless? Looking up, Lin Rei's face darkened when he saw the cracks on the formation around him. He didn't expect his formation to be so weak. But thinking about it, it made sense. After all, he could only use 1/10,000th of his strength. It was already very good that he could use it. Moreover, it was still holding on and hadn't been completely destroyed by the lightning tribulation. But seeing the cracks on the formation becoming more and more concentrated, he knew that this formation wouldn't last long. What should I do? What should I do? Should I just admit defeat like this? Lin Rei was extremely anxious as he watched the approaching threat. Thinking about the difficulties he had faced along the way, thinking about the path he had once taken, a sense of indignation welled up in his heart. No, I can't admit defeat. Isn't it just a small lightning tribulation? Isn't it just a test? Looking around, a chilling light was revealed. Just you wait. When I get out, I'll break your space and make you regret what you've done. As he thought about this, Lin Rei's hesitant heart calmed down, and a wisp of tenacity surged into appearance. The Tao of Heaven, the beginning of the great Tao. Things are forbidden, illusions are the foundation, and the sun and moon are the Tao. The Tao of talismans, supplemented by the 3,000 great Taos, derived from the various Taos, and the power of slaughter. Tendo is the same with the way of formations. A series of jerky incantations came out of Lin Rei's mouth, and then he raised both his hands and placed them on each side. Then, a series of formation symbols and runes appeared on both of his hands at the same time. At this moment, the moment the two Taos appeared, they were all centered around Lin Rei's chest, and their speed was not very fast. However, this scene, a strange thing happened. When the two Taos collided, they began to slowly fuse. Boom. Suddenly, a burst of energy of heaven and earth appeared in an instant. At the same time, at the moment the two Taos fused, the laws of heaven and earth seemed to be attracted by something and crazily rushed towards Lin Rei's body. The appearance of this scene caused the mysterious voice to exclaim in surprise, and then it fell silent again. Damn it, you forced me to do this. Feeling the runes in front of him getting stronger and stronger, the face that was full of worry a moment ago slowly relaxed at this moment. When Lin Rei was creating the runes, the lightning tribulation above his head did not stop because it was blocked by the formation just now. Instead, its power did not weaken, and instead, it became stronger and stronger. What made Lin Ray even more unbearable was that the thunder clouds in the sky were constantly injecting energy into the lightning above Lin Ray's head. Damn it, do you have any shame? Is this AF * king cheat? Looking at the lightning, Lin Ray's face darkened even more. This was something he had never encountered before. It could be said that this was the strangest thing he had ever encountered in his cultivation, and there was no other. Fine, you're really something. Since you don't want any shame, then why should I care? As he spoke, the seals on his hands began to change, and his speed increased to another level. Phew, awesome. At this moment, Lin Ray's originally illusory body miraculously materialized. Although the materialization speed was not very fast, because his body materialized, the formation that he had set up before also began to solidify. Hey, old man, you're still too inexperienced to fight with me. As he spoke, the seals on his hands began to change, and in an extremely distorted manner, it began to speed up. Suddenly, the sound of a sword rang out. At this moment, a sword hilt appeared above Lin Ray's head out of thin air. As time passed, the sword hilt changed from short to long. At first, it was just the sword hilt, but as time passed, the sword blade appeared. 10,000 Law Sword. This was the 10,000 Law Sword that Lin Ray had used before, but he had passed it all on to his son. Now that the 10,000 Law Sword had appeared, a touch of excitement appeared on his face. Although it's just a 10,000 Law Sword condensed from laws, all of its power has appeared. It's just that the 10,000 Law Sword special ability hasn't appeared. Saying that, Lin Ray couldn't help but feel a little regretful. However, in this situation, being able to condense a sword out of laws was already very good. Using the power of heaven and earth to inherit the laws of heaven and earth, and condensing the power of laws into a sword. Your comprehension of laws is very powerful. Shut up. Lin Ray really didn't want to hear the mysterious person speak right now. Seeing Lin Ray's growl, the mysterious person couldn't help but speak up. Looks like you hate me a lot. Bullshit. You showed up out of nowhere, told me to take the test, and didn't even give me a chance to choose. You're so rude to me, I'm not the only one. Anyone would be furious. Besides, I'm Linley, one of the most powerful figures in the future world. Is that so? The mysterious person paused for a moment before continuing. Since you say you're the peak of the future world, then, keep up the good work. After saying that, the voice disappeared again. Lin Ray wasn't surprised by this. Bastard, just you wait. In the outside world, the auction was very lively. However, without Lin Ray's bid, the auction went very smoothly. It was already halfway through, and each item could be said to be the best of the best. During the auction, Shadow and Ice saw a few magical treasures that were accessories and couldn't help but bid for them. They weren't expensive either. Each one cost 8 to 9 million. Hongyu, who was standing at the side, was already numb to this. He had thought that he was rich and could be considered a rich man. However, after this incident, he realized that compared to Linley, he was a poor man. A complete and utter poor man. Ladies, the next item is an extraordinary existence. I've heard that this item was once used by an ancient expert. It's extremely powerful. However, due to some reason, it was damaged. Even so, its power is still incomparable to an ordinary divine artifact. May I know what the two ladies are? Hongyu was stunned when he saw the item on the stage. The item was called the Red Brocade, and it looked like a blanket. Although it looked a bit funny, it was a magical treasure used by Shi Meng of the Shi clan. It was used to make people fall asleep. As long as the other party wasn't more than 3 levels higher than the user, they would fall into an eternal slumber and be unable to extricate themselves from their own dreams. Even if you were a strong-willed person, you wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from the Red Brocade. This item looks good and has a unique function. If we can get it and let our husband study it, he might be able to restore it. Sister Shadow is right. This item is such a divine item. I think we should bid for it. At this moment, the two of them discussed telepathically. However, as soon as they finished speaking, they looked at each other and nodded in agreement. They turned to Hongyu and said, I'll leave it to you. No matter what the price is, you must get it. As for the price, there's no limit as long as you can get it. What? Hongyu, who was looking forward to it, was stunned. He was just saying it because he wasn't sure if the two of them would buy it. But now, what's wrong? Is it difficult? Shadow asked when she saw Hongyu's shock. No, it's not difficult. Don't worry, I'll get it for you. But... Hongyu hesitated for a moment and confirmed again, are you sure there's no limit to the price? No matter the price? Shadow was speechless. Yes, no matter the price, you must get it. Do you understand? Understood. I'll bid now. Hongyu's face reddened when he was questioned by the two of them. He stopped talking and looked down with a nervous expression. Lin Rei didn't know what the two of them had decided to do. Lin Rei was in an extremely bad environment. That bucket-sized bolt of lightning above his head had disappeared, but in its place was a bolt of lightning 30 times the size of the previous bolt of lightning. As for the formation which Linley had set up earlier, it was now on the verge of collapse. It was full of cracks and there wasn't a single place that was intact. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe that such a formation could still hold on in the face of such a powerful attack. The sound of a sword rang through the entire space. At this moment, the sword above Lin Rei's head had taken shape. The rune on Lin Rei's chest had also taken shape and was floating in front of Lin Rei. Finally. It's finally done. Looking at the sword above his head and the rune in front of him, a smile appeared on Lin Rei's face. Looking at the rune in front of him, Lin Rei opened his mouth and whispered, Lightning Strike. The lightning strike was condensed from the laws of heaven and earth. It was very powerful. Once the lightning strike exploded, there would be no survivors within 10,000 miles. Even if there was a supreme god or a Tao fruit within 10,000 miles, it would be useless. As long as the lightning strike exploded, both of them would be destroyed in an instant. However, because he was in a mental state, the lightning strike's power was greatly reduced. Looking up at the 10,000 laws sword condensed from the laws, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he reached out and grabbed it. 10,000 laws sword, I hope you won't disappoint me. The sword was held horizontally in front of his chest. With a flash of light, he raised his hand and caught the lightning strike. Kacha, bang. Finally, the formation couldn't hold on and collapsed. Fortunately, I've successfully condensed it. Now, let's see if I'm still afraid of you. Saying that, he raised his hand and threw the lightning strike at the swarming lightning strike above his head. 10,000 swords art, 10,000 swords return to origin. In the instant that the thunder seal was thrown out, the long sword in his hand flashed out, and one sword shadow after another of the 10,000 spells sword appeared behind Linley. The power of heaven and earth didn't appear. It didn't come from the descending lightning. Instead, it came from Lin Rei's sword. At this moment, Lin Rei was using all of his strength. Go! With a furious shout, Lin Rei threw out a sword light. The moment the sword light flashed, the densely packed sword images followed the sword light and rushed toward the lightning above his head. The vast sword images, in addition to the lightning strike, were like a feast of battle. The people of the god realm had never seen such a scene before. Lightning strike, explode. Boom, a loud sound was heard. It was as if there was a big earthquake. The moment the lightning seal exploded, the entire space began to tremble. ZZ. The clouds dispersed. The power of the lightning strike's explosion was too great. Adding on the collision with the lightning, circles of shockwaves spread out in all directions. Facing this, Lin Rei, who was made of mental energy, flew back uncontrollably. Peng peng, while flying back, his eyes kept looking forward. He saw that the moment the lightning strike exploded, the 10,000 laws sword with 10,000 sword images rushed in front of the lightning and collided with it. With a plop sound, he finally flew upside down and fell to the ground. He rolled 2 laps before finally coming to a stop. Because it was mental energy, Lin Rei didn't feel any pain. However, his body made of mental energy became dim and illusory after experiencing the shockwaves of the battle. Getting up, he raised his head and looked at the lightning. Finally, it's finally over. Put on. Lin Rei sat on the ground powerlessly. He took a long breath and his face was full of shock. Just now, when Linli had investigated, the lightning had disappeared, and the law sword of 10,000 spells had disappeared along with the lightning. Finally, it's finally over. Thinking about what just happened, Lin Rei couldn't help but want to go out and find the little dragon to find out what happened. However, before he could get up, that mysterious voice sounded again. This time, it was full of praise. You're not bad. Nonsense, do I need you to say that? Looking around, Lin Rei couldn't help but roll his eyes. I'm very satisfied with your performance just now. I didn't expect that a body condensed from mental energy would be able to unleash such a powerful attack. I have to say that you're one of the few experts I've seen. You're very good and very strong, so hearing the mysterious person's praise, Lin Rei was stunned. Then, he came back to his senses and said, "Can you stop bragging? I just want to know who you are, where is this place, and what is the test you mentioned before?" Chapter 931. Whoosh. After Lin Rei finished speaking, the space was silent for a long time. The mysterious man did not speak, but just when Lin Rei thought that he was unwilling to speak, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. What the? Seeing the figure that suddenly appeared, Lin Rei immediately stood up from the ground. Looking at the figure, Lin Rei looked carefully. It was an old man with a head full of white hair and a beard. He looked very harmonious, but for some reason, behind this harmony, Lin Rei felt a sense of uneasiness. This kind of uneasiness was experienced by the little dragon and the system, but compared to the little dragon and the system, this kind of uneasiness was not as strong. Who are you? Finally, Lin Rei opened his mouth. The old man chuckled and looked up at Lin Rei. That pair of soul-sucking eyes met with Lin Rei's eyes. The moment Lin Rei's eyes met, Lin Rei felt that he had entered the endless void. Those eyes were like a black hole, as if they wanted to devour him and all living things. No, wake up for me. The moment this feeling arose, Lin Rei was stunned. Fear spread throughout his body, and he quickly bit the tip of his tongue to escape from those soul-sucking eyes. When he came back to his senses, his forehead was covered in cold sweat, and his face was pale. His clothes were soaked in cold sweat, and the tip of his tongue was tingling. TSK, not bad, your mind is firm, and you can pass the test with just a touch of spiritual power. Not bad. Looking at Lin Rei, the old man's eyes were filled with joy, as if Lin Rei was a naked woman who fascinated him. What are you looking at? Looking at the old man's excited face, Lin Rei's body trembled, and he couldn't help but step back with his hands around his chest. Damn, what are you thinking? This old man is worth it. Seeing Lin Rei's vigilant look, the old man couldn't help but smile bitterly. I just said that your mind is firm, can you think a little more? Seeing that the old man was about to teach him a lesson, Lin Rei wanted to refute, but he felt the uneasiness from the old man, and his voice stopped abruptly. Looking at Lin Rei, the old man rolled his eyes and sighed helplessly. All right, I won't chat with you anymore. Time is limited, let's hurry up and tell you what you have to do next. As he spoke, the old man's smile was replaced by a serious look on his face, as if what he was going to tell him was life and death. Lin Li couldn't help but become serious as well. He also wanted to know what he was going to say next. I am the weapon spirit of the devouring cauldron, the weapon spirit of the devouring cauldron. This is the space within the devouring cauldron. The reason why you are here is because your enormous mental strength has opened the seal. Therefore, you are here and have become a candidate for the successor. The devouring cauldron is devouring an artifact spirit? Candidate. Hearing the old man's words, Lin Rei roughly understood where he was. He also knew that he was in the small cauldron that was just auctioned off. However, he never expected that there would actually be an artifact spirit within such a damaged little cauldron. And the spirit was so terrifying, Lin Rei couldn't help but think of another question. If the spirit was so powerful, what level would the devouring cauldron be? However, Lin Rei didn't expect that the devouring cauldron was now broken and degraded, and the spirit inside it was also degraded. Yes, the devouring cauldron. Looking at Lin Rei, the devouring cauldron continued, I won't tell you the details, you just need to know that it's very powerful, even innate spiritual treasures can't compare to it. But. Seeing the artifact spirit stop, Lin Rei frowned, but what? But now that the devouring cauldron has been broken, it's been reduced to a supreme quality god artifact. If you really do inherit the devouring cauldron, there will be much waiting for you in the future. Suddenly, Lin Rei felt like he had fallen into a trap when he heard the artifact spirit's words, but this trap was just like the system back then. He had no choice but to step into it. Lin Rei became speechless when he thought about it, but when he thought about the uneasiness he felt from the artifact spirit, he immediately made a decision. Alright, let's wait and see. Didn't you say there was still a test? We'll talk about it after that. That's true. Anyway, there's no point in being anxious now. With your current level, you don't have the right to take the test of the devouring cauldron. Come find me when you break through to the Saint realm and become a Dao fruit saint at the bottom of the Saint's world. The artifact spirit said indifferently. However, when Lin Rei heard this, he felt like he had been electrocuted. His body trembled and he froze on the spot. You're saying that I don't have the strength to take the test now, and that I have to wait until I become a saint before I can take the test of the devouring cauldron? Lin Rei's words were filled with disbelief. He had some understanding of the artifact spirits in the past, but he had never thought that the artifact spirit would say such a thing. If he wanted to become a Dao fruit saint, he couldn't guarantee that he would be able to defeat only a Dao fruit saint who had reached perfection. However, at the very least, he would be able to cancel each other out and neither of them would be able to do anything to the other. I know you must be doubtful. Seeing Lin Rei's doubtful look, although he didn't say anything, he could feel it. However, that's the truth. Previously, the devouring cauldron's level was too high. Although its level has been reduced to a divine artifact now, its original test still exists. It's just that the test's level has been reduced slightly. I admit that you're powerful, but in the face of the devouring cauldron's test, unless you have the strength of a saint, after all, the minimum requirement for the devouring cauldron's test is to be a Dao fruit saint. Cultivators who haven't reached the Dao fruit saint realm can't take the test at all. After hearing the artifact spirit's words, Lin Rei was completely helpless. He was even more speechless towards the creator of the devouring cauldron. However, looking at the powerful treasure mountain in front of him, although it wasn't inferior to him now, he believed that as long as he became a saint, this thing would definitely be his. As he thought about it, a smile appeared on his face. I understand. I wonder if there's anything else you need? No. In that case, let me leave first. I'll look for you after I enter the Saint realm. Speaking of leaving, Lin Rei became anxious. He didn't know how much time had passed outside. Okay. After saying that, a rune shone around the artifact spirit and a door slowly rose not far from Lin Rei. In response, Lin Rei was excited and walked towards the exit. No, what should I do if you leave just like that? As though he had thought of something, the runes that had been flashing around his body suddenly vanished, and the door in front of him disappeared as well. What are you doing? Looking at the door disappear, Lin Rei was stunned. He turned his head and roared at the artifact spirit. Actually, I wanted to say that the devouring cauldron is severely damaged. If you come across any materials that can repair the devouring cauldron, please pass them to me. If the devouring cauldron is upgraded, it will be a great help to you. No. I see. Originally, Lin Rei was a little angry when the door suddenly disappeared. However, after hearing this, he fell silent for a moment. This matter was nothing to him. However, thinking about the resurrection of the little dragon, Lin Rei was worried. Originally, one person was enough for him. Now, there was another person who was useless. Forget it. Anyway, his current state is only temporary. When he recovers, he will definitely be a good artifact. Thinking of this, a smile appeared on his face. He looked up at the artifact spirit and nodded. Okay, I agree to this matter. As long as I come across the materials you need, I will definitely get them for you. Now, can you let me out? Yes, you can go out. After saying that, before Lin Rei could react, his vision turned black. When he saw light again, he could not help but sigh in his heart. I didn't expect that I would have a time like this. Thinking of the uneasiness he felt from the devouring cauldron, Lin Rei was very afraid. You're awake. Just as Linley was in a state of apprehension, a lazy voice rang out from not too far away. Little dragon? He could not be more familiar with this voice. Looking for the voice, he saw the little dragon sitting on the lake with a smile on his face. Looking at him, Lin Rei could not help but feel hatred. You bastard, you only know how to trick me. Time and time again, you do this every time. You bastard, you think this is fun. Lin Rei could not help but speak. Although it seemed like Lin Rei was really complaining about the little dragon, in fact, in his tone and expression, there was no resentment at all. Are you angry? The figure flashed in front of Lin Rei. Looking at him face to face, he smiled. Io, don't be like this. You saw it too. I am giving you an opportunity. With the power of this devouring cauldron and the artifact spirit inside, it will definitely be useful to you when you enter the holy world. Of course, before that, you have to shoulder the responsibility of repairing it. Otherwise, everything I said just now is just empty talk. You, facing the little dragon, Lin Rei could not get angry at him no matter what. Sigh. Forget it. Since this has happened, then let it be. But you have to remember, if something like this happens in the future, you have to tell me in advance. Otherwise, wouldn't it be embarrassing if it happens again like today? Yes, I understand. Don't worry, I will definitely tell you in advance next time, the little dragon agreed. Seeing the little dragon's appearance, Lin Rei could not help but feel a chill in his balls. He felt that something bad would be waiting for him in the future. As for the little dragon's words just now, Lin Rei only heard them in one ear and out the other. He did not have any extravagant hopes for the little dragon to change. He only hoped that it would not be too serious. The atmosphere became awkward as the two of them looked at each other. Before long, Lin Rei spoke up to break the awkward situation. Since you are fine, then I will go out first. I have been in here for so long, I don't know if the things you need have appeared. As for this devouring cauldron, since it is still in a sealed state, then let it continue to be sealed. When I have time, I will help it find the materials to repair it. That's it, I will go first. After saying that, he left the system in a flash. He was afraid that if he did not leave, the little dragon would blackmail him. Lin Rei deeply understood this point. You brat. Looking at the place where Lin Rei's figure disappeared, a bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. You really don't know how to cherish it. Such a good thing is in your hands and you are still like this. If those old fellows saw you, I am afraid they would directly cross the vast universe to hunt you down, right? Saying that, a touch of sadness appeared. At this moment, Lin Rei, who left the system naturally, did not know that at this moment, his spiritual energy returned to his body. Few, powerful strength can still be protected. When Xiaochen felt the power coming from his physical body, the uneasiness in his heart could not help but vanish. You are awake. The same words, but when spoken by different people, gave Lin Rei a different feeling. Hearing this voice, Lin Rei smiled and nodded. Yes, I am awake. I wonder if the two of you have bought anything you like. Hearing their husband's question, Ying and Bing shyly lowered their heads and answered softly, yes. That's good. At this moment, Lin Rei was finally relieved. Regarding this, he looked at Hong Yu and Xiao Nye. Seeing their shocked expressions, Lin Rei was puzzled. What's wrong with the two of you? Nothing. I just feel that you are the one who is strong and powerful. We can't compare to you. Looking at Lin Rei, Hong Yu smiled bitterly. Originally, he thought that he was quite rich, but when he saw Lin Rei, Ying, and Bing spending money without any concept, he was too embarrassed to say that he was rich. One had to know that the price that Lin Rei and the other two said just now was so high that even if he sold the entire Honglu, he would not be able to compare to Lin Rei. You are too kind. Lin Rei did not care about his wealth. Although wealth was a strong backing for cultivation, Lin Rei did not care about this backing at all because he did not need it. Husband, look at that thing. I saw that the material is rare and the use is novel, so after discussing it with Sister Bing, we want to buy that thing for you so that you can study it later. Saying this, Ying led Lin Rei to look at the red silk brocade on the auction stage. Oh. Hearing this, Lin Rei was startled and looked up. Although that thing was not really expensive, since it was something that his wife wanted him to see, even if he did not understand it, he had to pretend that he did. This was a trick that he had learned for a long time, and it worked every time. However, the moment Lin Rei's eyes fell on the red silk brocade, all his focus fell on the red silk brocade. This thing. You. Seeing her husband like this, Ying was delighted. She thought that she would like it, but the moment she heard Lin Rei's next words, she was stunned. What is this thing? Why does it look so much like the red veil on the heads of ancient women when they get married on planet Aqua Blue? Saying this, Lin Rei's divine sense rushed out and covered the red veil instantly. Originally, he just wanted to pretend that he was afraid that his wife would be unhappy, but at this moment, his divine sense observed the red silk brocade, and he could not help but be fascinated. Chapter 932. Looking at the red silk brocade, Lin Rei felt as if he had seen the whole world. Not for anything else, but because some of it could be used to rebuild the body of the little dragon. Spirit-seeking silk. The spirit-seeking thread was a very rare existence. It was not a particularly large piece, and its level was not particularly high. However, it was listed as one of the important materials by Xiaolong for the recovery of the physical body. Of course, he was not very clear about the spirit-seeking silk. It could even be said that he had never heard of it. However, at that time, the little dragon had completely transformed the appearance and characteristics of the spirit-seeking silk and understood all of its characteristics. Lin Rei originally thought that the spirit-seeking silk would only have a chance to be used after entering the Holy Realm. Although the spirit-seeking silk was not of a high level, it was very picky. It would not grow unless it was in a place with a high level of spiritual qi. Ordinary people did not know about this at all. Only the real powerhouses, like the little dragon, would know about it. Even he was hearing about it for the first time. Spirit-seeking silk. It's the spirit-seeking silk. I didn't expect to find it here. His eyes were fixed on the red veil. Perhaps it was because he was excited that he said the name of the spirit-seeking silk. Spirit-seeking silk? What's that? However, after Lin Rei spoke, the group of people in the room was confused. They did not know about the spirit-seeking silk at all. It could be said that they had never heard of it. Get it. Lin Rei, you must get it. At this time, the little dragon was also excited. After all, it was about his body. How could he not be anxious? Since this thing can appear here, it means that it is fated to be with me. Although some of its spiritual chi has dissipated, it can still be used. After all, this kind of thing is not easy to find. Even if it is found, it will not be so easy to get. He glanced at the system and saw Xiaolong's excited expression. Linley's heart ached, but he immediately made up his mind. He had to get the spirit-seeking thread. If God or Buddha stood in his way, he would kill Buddha. With this sword in hand, he could conquer the world. Buy it, no matter the price. Even if it means killing, I will not hesitate. At this moment, Lin Rei did not hide anything. Since he had already decided, there was nothing to hide. This. All right. Feeling the pressure coming from Lin Rei's body, Hong Yu's body suddenly trembled. His legs instantly wanted to bend and kneel down to worship Lin Rei. But fortunately, he didn't know how, but in the end, a cool feeling instantly flowed through his body, and Hong Yu was able to walk out of that state. Phew, Ari let out a long sigh. Thinking back to the feeling just now, he had the urge to run away. However, when he thought of the cool feeling that had appeared at the end, Hong Yu couldn't help but turn his head to look. What he saw was none other than Ing, who was sitting next to Lin Rei. When he turned his head, he found that Ing was looking at him with an apologetic look. Hong Yu was stunned for a moment before he nodded. Fellow Taoist Lin, since you've said so, then there's nothing to worry about. Since you want it, then let's bid for it. I would like to see who is the one who doesn't care about his life and wants to go against Hong Lu in this Death City. His words were impassioned, but Linley knew that behind this impassioned speech, there was a scheme. As the saying goes, only those with profits can be called businessmen. If he didn't have any profits, Hong Yu wouldn't be saying these words. However, Lin Rei didn't make a clear response to this. Of course, he was determined to get the red silk brocade. It didn't matter who came. 50 million. Boom. This voice was like a bomb, causing the entire Wanbao pavilion to be in an uproar. 50 million to buy a tattered red veil that even had a strange smell. The little dragon couldn't imagine what this was for. Was he crazy? 50 million? At this moment, Lin Rei frowned when he heard this price from the third floor. This was because he realized that the room that said 50 million was none other than the room of the person who bid against him previously. I didn't expect us to be so fated, but... A cold aura emerged. Even if we're fated, this item has to be mine. It can only be mine. Others can forget about it, unless they want to die. Fellow Taoist Lin, 50 million, do you still want to raise the price? A weak voice came from the side. In my opinion, this item has already exceeded the best price. If you raise the price, I'm afraid, raise the price. Before Hong Yu could finish speaking, Lin Rei's decisive words entered his mind. All right. After receiving the order, Hong Yu nodded his head and walked to the side. He reached out his hand to support himself against the wall, as if he was afraid that he would faint. Looking down at the crowd that was waiting for a higher price to appear, Hong Yu gritted his teeth and stomped his foot. Then, he opened his mouth and understood Lin Rei's meaning. 60 million. In an instant, the crowd was ignited once again. 60 million, there was a difference of 10 million. If it was a normal cultivator or sect, it would be impossible. At this moment, whether it was the people on the first floor or the second floor, or even Lu Yao on the stage, they were all very curious about the room that was bidding on the third floor. They were curious about what kind of person had such great wealth. Such a person could not be found in the realm of the gods. This caused everyone to be even more shocked. Some people began to have delusional thoughts, while others began to think in other directions. Some people began to suspect that the person in the room on the third floor looked rich, but in reality, he wanted to dine and dash. Who exactly has such great wealth to be able to so easily take out 60 million to buy a tattered veil? That's right, who exactly is this person? Since he's so strong, he shouldn't be from a sect outside of the ninth state, right? But I heard that those sects aren't much, right? Ha. I really don't know how this person has such great wealth. If he could teach me, how great would that be? The scene became extremely chaotic. Lin Ray did not care about this, nor did he want to pay attention to it. All he wanted was the red veil. Bastard, it's you again. At this moment, old man who on the second floor had already exploded with anger. He had been angry because someone else had bought the pill cauldron at such a high price, and it was difficult for him to calm down. But now, he had once again taken a fancy to something that he wanted. Now, another person had appeared. What caused old man whose head to hurt was that the person who had bid for the pill cauldron at such a high price was the same person who had bid for the pill cauldron at such a high price. At this moment, he really couldn't take it anymore. The anger that had accumulated in his heart and this time, adding fuel to the fire, could only ignite the effect of the fire even faster. At this moment, it seemed that old man who had been ignited. 70 million. This time, old man who had already decided that no matter who it was, he would definitely buy this item today, regardless of the price he had to pay. With such a look and such determination, old man who seemed to have forgotten that he had also wanted to touch the devouring cauldron when it had appeared previously. Who exactly is this person? He actually dares to fight back. It seems that the previous blow and suppression were not enough. In that case, then, this time, I'll crush all of your confidence and turn it into dregs. Looking at old man whose room on the second floor, a strange smile appeared on his face. Continue to raise the price. No matter how much the other party offers, you must buy this item. Just add 10 million more than the other party's bid. He instructed Hongyu, who was beside him, and then his gaze fell on Ing. Go and see who's here. Since he wants to be a guest, let him in. It's quite tiring to hide at the door. The sudden words caused Hongyu and Xiao Nie to be stunned. Subconsciously, the two of them looked at each other and saw the puzzled look in each other's eyes. Both of them were stunned. However, when Ing heard this, she didn't seem surprised. In fact, the moment that person came and hid at the door, she had already noticed his presence. However, at that time, Lin Ray was obsessed with the cauldron, so, she stood up and looked at Lin Ray with a smile. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. After doing it for so long, it's time to loosen up. Go. After saying that, Ing, who was still stretching her body, suddenly disappeared. She was still there a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, she disappeared without a trace. Even the slightest trace of her aura in the room disappeared. It was as if she had never been there. With a gulp, Hongyu and Xiao Nie, who were watching Ing disappear, stood dumbfounded on the spot. Their throats kept moving as they choked on their saliva. Outside the door, on one of the rafters, a man dressed entirely in black was lying on his stomach, staring at the door to Linley's room. He didn't dare to blink for even a moment, as though if he blinked, he would miss something. Tisk, it's already 60 or 70 million. I didn't expect this person to be so rich. If I can rob him, then, no, it's dangerous. At this moment, just as the man was about to rob Lin Ray, a cold intent came from behind him. As an assassin, he naturally understood this feeling. At the same time, he was also aware of it the moment he felt it and made preparations to escape. Heh, your vigilance is not bad. It's just that your strength is a little lacking. She had purposely released that cold intent just now for no other reason than to have fun. You, hearing the voice behind him, the man turned around and saw a woman looking at him with a smile. Of course, he didn't feel that the woman in front of him had any good intentions. It wasn't for anything else but his intuition. When he saw the woman's expression, what the man saw was not warmth. Instead, it was as if he was being stared at by a prehistoric beast. It made him tremble in fear. Come in and sit with me. The person who spoke was none other than Ing, who had disappeared from the room. Looking at the man, Ing said, Don't force me to make a move. When I make a move, even I'm afraid of myself. Oh. Is that so? Saying this, she ignored him and walked towards the man with disdain in her eyes. Don't come over." Seeing the woman continuously walking towards him, the man panicked. Just now, he had been filled with coldness. Now, the moment the woman moved, he realized that he did not even have the thought of fighting back. Instead, he had the urge to run away. This was something that had never happened in his life as an assassin. Even his master had never said this. "Let's go." Saying this, Ing didn't want to waste any more time. She stretched out her hand and a large amount of spirit chi instantly appeared, wrapping around the man in black and controlling him. Sigh. "Wouldn't it have been better if you had done this earlier? Why would I waste time with you?" Thinking about this, she couldn't help but laugh and walk towards the room. However, at this moment, all of the experts in the auction house were alarmed. Although it was only for an instant, they felt it very clearly. Ing didn't know that she had only released her cultivation for an instant, but she didn't expect to be noticed. At this moment, all of the high-level practitioners in the auction house looked towards the room where Lin Ray was on the 3rd floor. Some were confused, some were doubtful, and some were shocked. At this moment, everyone wanted to see the appearance of Lin Ray and the others even more. They even wanted to investigate the cultivation of these people and where the powerful aura just now came from. All of these questions became the sore point of everyone present. As for the auction house, they basically didn't pay much attention to it. It could be said that half of the auction was a success, but the other half was also a failure. Not for anything else, but because everyone's attention were all on Ing and Linley's room on the 3rd floor. In Lin Ray's room, Ing caught the man in black and put him in front of Lin Ray. Then she sat back down next to Lin Ray. She was well-behaved and gentle. At this moment, the man in black didn't feel the coldness on her face at all. "Who are you? Who sent you?" "Of course, you don't have to tell me, but I'm a very patient person. If you don't tell me the answer I want to know in the time I want to know, then, don't blame me when the time comes." Before the man in black could refuse, Lin Ray said, "Who sent you? What's your name? Why are you here? What's your mission? And which force do you belong to?" Lin Ray asked one question after another. For a moment, the man in black was stunned. 3. 2. "Oh, it seems that you're very brave." Seeing that the man didn't speak, Lin Ray laughed instead of being angry. 1. "Good, you've successfully exceeded the time limit I set. Since that's the case, I'll give you some punishment." As he spoke, a silver needle appeared in his hand. With a casual flick, he threw it out like a dart. "Ah!" A scream came from the man's mouth. His face was pale, cold sweat flowed freely from his forehead, and the veins on his forehead bulged. His face was as ferocious as a ghost, which made people click their tongues. Don't panic. This is just the beginning. And this is only the least painful of the 18 major acupoints. Looking at him, Lin Ray paused for a moment and continued, "I'll continue. Of course, you don't have to respond, but, you know." With that, Lin Ray spoke again, "Now tell me, who sent you? Which force do you belong to?" "I don't want to say more. You'd better not force me. I think I'm very kind. Don't force me to be a bad person." Chapter 933. Enduring the pain, he raised his head to look at Linley's kind, yet deathly smile. His entire body quivered as he suddenly came to his senses. He thought of the person behind him, and then thought of the pain he was currently enduring. If what he said was true, the pain would only get worse. In an instant, the oaths and promises in the man's heart were destroyed in the face of death and torture. He did as he said. He raised his head and the pleading look in his eyes was exposed in front of everyone. Seeing this, Linley knew that the information he wanted to know was about to come. Sure enough, as soon as this thought appeared, the man in black spoke. However, because of the pain, he couldn't help but stutter when he spoke. "I said, as long as you don't torture me, I'll tell you immediately." As he spoke, as if he was afraid that Lin Ray would return. He didn't wait for Lin Ray to respond and quickly said, "My name is 16. In our organization, we don't have our own names. We only have code names because it's easier to remember." Oh. Hearing this, Lin Ray frowned. He knew that in some assassin organizations, people usually wouldn't use their own names. Yes, and for people like us who were adopted since we were young, we have even less autonomy. We have to listen to all the arrangements, so, get to the point. Lin Ray frowned and said. Okay. Seeing Lin Ray's frown, 16 couldn't help but shudder. He quickly said, "The sect I'm in is called Nameless. It can be said that it's a sect that has just started. This time, I came with the sect leader and vice sect leader. At the same time, the person who sent me here is the vice sect leader called Hu Yi. Although he is the vice sect leader, he has the same power as the sect leader. Because he is an alchemist, the sect leader is very helpless. After all, the sect has just started and is at the stage where alchemists are useful." What happened after that? Seeing that 16 was a lot, Lin Ray quickly asked. What he wanted to know was not this. Then, just now, because Hui wanted to get the pill cauldron that you bought at a high price, because of his face and your financial resources, I understand. Hearing this, how could Lin Ray not understand? So, it's another piece of trash who is tempted by wealth. However, Lin Ray couldn't understand. Even he didn't know the origin of that black cauldron. At first glance, it looked like a decent cauldron, but why? Seeing Lin Ray's confused look, the man in black understood and continued, "You don't know, but our vice sect leader likes to fight for everything. There was once when he fought with the sect leader for his own face. If it weren't for the difference in strength between him and the sect leader, I'm afraid that the position of sect leader of the Nameless sect would have been changed." At this moment, before Lin Ray could ask, Hong Yu spoke. "Then what's the name of the sect leader of your Nameless sect? What's his background? Why isn't the Nameless sect famous in the realm of the gods? It can even be said that no one has heard of it before." In terms of information, he believed that Hong Lu was powerful. However, now that there was a sect that even he didn't know about, how could he let go of his face? Also, where is the sect leader of your sect? How strong is the sect? When did you enter the city? Xiao Nia couldn't help but add. Yes. Hong Yu was stunned for a moment, then a smile appeared on his face. This? Seeing the two excited people, 16 couldn't help but look at Lin Ray with a troubled expression. He understood that the person in front of him had the most authority and the right to speak, so, speak. Whatever they want to know, you must tell them. Don't hide anything. Otherwise, you know what will happen. As he spoke, a silver needle appeared in his hand. Understood. He had a deep understanding of silver needles. 16 didn't dare to be negligent in the slightest. He turned around and told Hong Yu and Xiao Nia all their questions in detail. As for Lin Ray himself, he was looking at the red veil below him. He was very nervous. Below, everyone was looking at the position that Lin Ray mentioned. Lu Yao was no exception. As for the price and ownership of the red silk brocade, everyone already had an idea. Even Lu Yao was the same. 70 million. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher than 70 million? At this moment, Lu Yao came back to her senses and collected all her thoughts. Little girl, who do you think will continue to bid? The person in that room has already said such a thing. Who dares to increase the price? That's right. No matter who bids, he'll increase the price by 10 million. Isn't that putting pressure on everyone? Furthermore, who can compete with him in terms of wealth? Furthermore, we wouldn't foolishly offend such a powerful and mysterious existence for such a broken item, right? That's right. What this friend said is too correct. We also think so. That's why, little girl, you should quickly make the final decision. There's already no one who's bidding. At this moment, without waiting for Lu Yao to say anything, the people on the second and third floor, even the people on the first floor, all began to speak. Of course, it was inevitable that everyone would feel displeased and angry at Hong Yu's earlier words. After all, those who were able to come here were all people of status in the divine realm. Things like face were very important to everyone present. However, at the same time, everyone present knew that in front of absolute strength, face was like a shoe cushion. It wasn't worth anything. This was especially true for someone like Lin Rei. He had already bid 10 million. However, perhaps they did not know that not long ago, Lin Rei had spent all of his wealth in one go. Furthermore, the price of divine crystals was much higher than middle-grade divine crystals. There were high-grade divine crystals and even top-grade divine crystals. If they were to find out about this, they would probably faint from the shock of this matter. At this moment, on the stage, Lu Yao heard the news from the upper floor of the hall. She smiled and was stunned. She understood. She raised her head and looked around. Then, she nodded and agreed, all right. Since everyone has said it like this, I have nothing else to say. 70 million going once. Although everyone was no longer bidding, the process of the auction still had to be completed. After all, these were the rules. The rules could not be broken. As the saying goes, nothing can be accomplished without rules. Only with rules could one shake the world. To an outstanding auctioneer, this was very important. 10 million going twice. I've finally gotten it. Seeing the auctioneer making his decision, Lin Rei felt a weight lifted from his heart. 70 million going thrice. Sold. With a bang, the hammer struck the final blow. The auction item, the red silk brocade, was now Linley's personal possession. Congratulations to the friend on the third floor. This red silk brocade has become your personal item. After that, the attendant brought the red silk brocade to Lin Rei's private room. Bastard, it's you again. Why is it always you? Do you really not get along with this old man? In the room on the second floor, Hu Yi was about to explode from anger when he saw the item he wanted being snatched away by that person. No, this time, I definitely can't let you go. I don't believe that you're really that powerful. As if he had made a decision, Hu Yi calmly sat down. His expression was gloomy, and he was the complete opposite of the violent him from before. AI. The young man looked at Hu Yi and couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. It seems that Hu Yi has made his decision this time. But, thinking about what Hu Yi had said, a mysterious smile appeared on the young man's face. It disappeared in a flash, and a calm expression appeared on his face again. That's good. This way, we can investigate whether that mysterious and powerful aura came from the person in that room. At this moment, the young man's thought appeared in everyone's mind. Lin Rei didn't know about it. The auction continued, and the later items became better and better. However, Linley didn't bid for any of the later items. It wasn't that he didn't want to bid, but rather that these items were of no use to him at all. In fact, they could even be described as troublesome. Lin Rei stored the red silk brocade in the system. It was already good enough to get the devouring cauldron and the red silk brocade at the Wanbao Pavilion's auction house. So, in the time that followed, Lin Rei immersed himself in cultivation and meditation. The things that he couldn't figure out in the past, he found some clues during this meditation. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, day turned to night, and then night turned to day again. This cycle continued for 4 days. This auction was undoubtedly very beautiful for the Wanbao Pavilion. At the same time, the profits from this auction were very optimistic. Some people got what they wanted in this auction, but some people didn't get what they wanted. Bang! The hammer made the final decision. The last item has been sold. This auction can be said to have ended very well. Once again, this little girl is very grateful for everyone's sincere invitation. Thank you very much. After saying this, S bowed slightly. Like this, if everyone still wants to buy some things, you can go next door to choose. For everyone who came to this auction, my Wanbao Pavilion will give everyone a 20% discount. When this promise was made, the people who didn't get anything in the auction had bitter expressions. In the next moment, smiles appeared on their faces. Their bodies subconsciously wanted to leave and go to the Wanbao Pavilion next door. In this regard, Lu Yao, who was on the stage, saw it clearly. Like this, the auction has come to a successful end. Everyone who wants to leave can leave. As for the guests who got something in the auction, we will visit them one by one. Of course, the main thing is to collect fees. After saying this, Lu Yao turned and left the auction stage. The moment Lu Yao left, the attendant to the side carried the auction item and followed her. With the departure of the two, the people who wanted to leave and go to the Wanbao Pavilion to buy things could no longer stay. It was as if they had broken through their limits and left the auction venue. As for the people on the second and third floor, not a single one moved. Of course, a part of it was because Lu Yao had said that no money was paid. As for the other part, their thoughts were very explicit. They wanted to see if the person who had bid a high price and the aura of the mysterious expert had come from that room. Husband, the auction is over. Wake up. At this moment, Lin Ray was in the room on the third floor. Since the first day, Lin Ray had been immersed in meditation and hadn't woken up. Lin Ray let out a soft groan. Not long after, his tightly shut brows moved a few times and a pair of black eyes appeared before everyone's eyes. Phew, he opened his eyes and looked at everyone. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and a smile appeared on his face. Looking at his wife, Lin Ray asked, "Is it over?" Looking at her husband, Ing said, "It's over. But I haven't paid yet." That's true." Lin Ray smiled awkwardly. If it weren't for Ying's reminder, he really would have forgotten that he hadn't paid yet. However, when he thought about paying, Lin Ray couldn't help but recall that he had already spent all of his divine crystals. All he had left were divine artifacts and useless pills. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Everyone looked over and a look of confusion appeared on their faces. At this moment, Hong Yu thought of something and said, "It should be the cashier." It should be." Ing nodded. As she spoke, she stood up and walked to the door. She reached out and opened the door. A stunning face slowly emerged from the crack in the door and appeared before everyone's eyes. Isn't this the auctioneer from before, the second daughter of the Myriad Treasures Pavilion's pavilion master, Lu Yao? Looking at the figure that appeared, Lin Ray immediately recognized her. Why is she here? Not only was Lin Ray puzzled, even Hong Yu was very puzzled. Logically speaking, there would always be someone sent to collect the money from the bidders. When had the owner come out? Under everyone's puzzled gazes, Lu Yao smiled and brushed back her hair. Everyone, I'm truly sorry. Because this auction is too large, there's a shortage of people. I can only take care of the cultivation here. As she spoke, she bowed to Ing, who had opened the door and walked into the room. Since that's the case, then speak. How much is it altogether? In regards to Lu Yao's beauty, Lin Ray was only stunned for a moment before he recovered. His gaze did not linger on her body or face for too long. After all, there were two extremely beautiful wives at his side. Although home flowers could not compare to wild flowers, Lin Ray did not believe this to be the case. He felt that no matter how good wild flowers were, they could not compare to home flowers. Okay. Seeing that Lin Ray's gaze did not linger on her, Lu Yao was stunned and a feeling of defeat welled up in her. Smiling awkwardly, she then calculated the total price of the things that Lin Ray and the others had won. After calculating, Lu Yao raised her head and said, "This time, you've spent a total of 260 million. Seeing that it's your first time here and that you've spent so much, I've taken the liberty of rounding it off." You can just directly pay 260 million. Chapter 934. 200 million, to some people, was an astronomical figure. Even Hong Lu was no exception. Thus, when he heard this number, Hong Yu seemed to see a large number flash before his eyes. Furthermore, this was a number that he did not dare to try. To the side, Lin Rei was very calm. He was not like Hong Yu, but in truth, he was unable to take out 290 million. Looking at Lu Yao, Lin Rei spoke, I do not have 260 million, but I have some pills and a few high-grade divine artifacts. I wonder if they can offset each other. Offset each other? I can't be out of money, right? At this moment, whether it was Lu Yao or Hong Yu, they were both stunned. However, Lu Yao's expression was a bit richer. After all, this 200 million would go into their family's pockets. That's right. Saying this, without waiting for Lu Yao to speak, Lin Rei waved his hand and brought out all the things that he had prepared. With a flash of light, a pile of items appeared before everyone. Among them, there were roughly a dozen or so divine artifacts. As for medicinal pills, they were scattered all over the ground. There was no need to rush to find many of them. Seeing the things that had suddenly appeared on the ground, Lu Yao was stunned. Lowering her head, she did not have much hope at first, but when her gaze fell on the pile of things on the ground, her entire gaze was attracted. As an outstanding auctioneer, she at least had a good eye for good things. In the instant that her gaze fell on the things on the ground, she felt that these things were not ordinary. Squatting down, she picked up a sword and pulled it out of its sheath. Bzzz, the sound of the sword suddenly rang through the entire auction hall. Although every room had a soundproof formation, she never would have thought that Lin Rei's divine artifacts were all forged with his illusory spirit blood fire. Compared to normal divine artifacts, they could be described as trash. Good sword. She evaluated the sword in her hand with this word, but Lu Yao felt that it was a bit too belittling. She could feel that when she said this word, the sword in her hand clearly trembled a few times and began to struggle. He was aware of this phenomenon. At this moment, the sword in his hand was dissatisfied with her and her evaluation. At the same time that she understood the importance, Lu Yao put down the sword in her hand. She then picked up the other divine weapons, but after testing them one by one, she was stunned by the divine weapons on the ground. She discovered that these divine artifacts basically all had their own consciousness. After a period of sacrificial refining, it wouldn't take long for them to develop spiritual awareness and even artifact spirits. At this moment, she was no longer calm. Her previous expression of disdain had disappeared. At this moment, she only had one thought, and that was to leave everything in front of her. With these things, perhaps their 10,000 treasures pavilion would be upgraded to a higher level. As she thought about it, Lu Yao turned her gaze to the mortal bottle to the side. Although she had not seen it yet, when she thought of the divine tool from earlier, she subconsciously began to speak more heavily. Who? Calm down, you must calm down. After all, you are the second young lady of the Wanbao Pavilion. Calm down, yes, calm down. Sensing that she was acting strangely, she could not help but begin to calm herself down. She wanted to calm herself down, but she found later on that this was completely useless because she was already impatient to know what sort of treasure was inside the pill bottle. Reaching out to hold the pill bottle tightly in her hand, she raised her head to look at Lin Rei. She then saw Lin Rei reclining in his chair with a look of indifference. Lu Yao was stunned. Could it be that the things inside are not as good as the divine tool? Thinking of this, the anticipation in her heart lessened. Reaching out to open the lid of the pill bottle, however, in this instant, a clear fragrance wafted out. Amidst this sound, she could faintly hear the sound of flowing water. This, Zun level pill, this is, a Zun level pill? Before Lu Yao could speak, Hong Yu screamed from the side. At this moment, Hong Yu was so shocked that he could not control himself. The divine tool from before had already caused him to be extremely shocked. But now that this kind of pill had appeared, this caused his worldview to be toppled. He had heard of Zune-level pills before, but he had never seen one before. But now, he felt the aura coming from the pill bottle, in addition to the fragrance of the pill, as well as some of the hidden injuries in his body. He had a faint feeling of numbness. This feeling caused him to involuntarily think of the explanation and effects of Zune-level pills. However, Lin Rei naturally knew why the three of them were so shocked. After all, in the entire realm of the gods, he was the only one who possessed Zune-level pills. He was the only one who had these divine artifacts. Even if others had them, they would only be inferior to his. Lady Lu, I wonder if my husband's things will be able to cancel out your auction items? At this moment, Ying spoke and urged. Although she knew that her appearance was much better than Lu Yao's, she still felt a little uncomfortable for a woman like her to stay in front of her husband. Lady Lu, you say it. Can these things be used or not? If they can't, I still have some divine crystals here. I believe that it will be enough to buy the auction items just now. Bing, who understood Ying's meaning, quickly spoke up. She was also different. Lu Yao stayed in front of Lin Rei for a long time, even though she was confident in her appearance. Seeing his two wives say this, Lin Rei's face was filled with awkwardness. However, his thoughts were poles apart from Ying's. It was just that he wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. After all, they had wasted too much time here and it was meaningless. The three of them looked at Lu Yao, hoping that she would be able to make a decision. That. Feeling that the three of them were looking at her, Lu Yao was momentarily stunned. Then, she smiled bitterly, the three of you really know how to joke. As she spoke, she pointed at the things on the ground and continued, how can such good things not cancel each other out? As she spoke, a look of bitterness appeared on her face. It was as she had just said. She wanted to buy them all, but 260 million. If she really used 260 million to buy the things before her, it would only be enough to buy 3 divine artifacts. As for pills, don't even think about it. Moreover, these 3 divine artifacts were just barely enough. If the buyer increased the price, it was possible that it would only be enough to buy 2. However, Lin Rei did not have the slightest idea about these things. Seeing Lu Yao nod, Lin Rei urged, since that's the case, let's hurry up. We are in a hurry. Right, we are in a hurry. Let's quickly resolve this matter so that we can leave. At this time, Hongyu interjected. Seeing Hongyu like this, Lu Yao hesitated for a moment before speaking. Her voice was filled with pleading, everyone, please wait a moment. I will go call my father. This matter is very serious, so, your father? Seeing Lu Yao like this, Lu Guiyun's unscrupulous expression appeared in his mind. He was speechless. But in the end, he could only nod, fine, but you have to be quick. 5 minutes. I will only give you 5 minutes. If your father does not appear before me in 5 minutes, I will choose to leave. Of course, before I leave, I will leave behind a few things as compensation. Good. Please wait a moment. I will leave now. After saying this, Lu Yao left in a hurry. With Lu Yao's departure, the room quieted down. No one spoke. Lin Rei reclined in his chair with a look of enjoyment on his face. As for the other two, they sat to the side, thinking about their own matters. Neither paid attention to the other. It was as if the other did not exist. Tower Master, if our Hong Tower can possess such a treasure, then... Xiao Nia could not help but send a voice transmission to Hongyu. Turning his head to look at Xiao Nia, he rolled his eyes, nonsense, do you think I don't know? But so what? This thing is not ours. Even if we buy it, how much do you think it will cost? 50 million mid-grade divine crystals. 100 million? Looking at the divine artifacts on the ground, a sense of powerlessness welled up in his heart. He never thought that there would be a day when he would be able to see so many high-grade divine artifacts. He was certain that compared to other high-grade divine artifacts, these were simply top-grade existences. Then are we just going to watch the people of the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion obtain these divine artifacts? There's nothing we can do. Who told fellow Lin to have the things he needs in the 10,000 Treasures Pavilion? After saying this, Hong Yu shrugged and fell silent. However, the hesitant look on his face was clearly seen by Lin Li. He understood the importance of these divine artifacts to these people. Lin Rei did not feel that there was anything wrong with this. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed, but Lu Guiyun still had not arrived. They're here. Just as he was thinking this, Lu Guiyun and Lu Yao's figures appeared in his divine sense. A smile appeared on his face. Come in. At this moment, Lu Guiyun, who had just arrived at the door and had not even reached out to knock, heard a voice coming from inside the room. Lu Guiyun did not say anything about this. He immediately pushed the door open and entered the room. After entering the room, he looked at Lin Rei and the others. His gaze swept over them and finally fell on the divine artifacts and medicinal pills on the ground. Seeing these, Lu Guiyun was as shocked as Lu Yao was before. Fellow Lin, are you sure you want to use these things to exchange for the things you just bid for? Lu Guiyun asked. That's right. Okay, I agree. Before Lin Rei could finish speaking, Lu Guiyun's voice quickly followed. Since that's the case, then let's do it. Once you're done, I'll leave. Saying this, Lin Rei made an inviting gesture. Oh, that's right. Fellow Hong, thank you for your broadband these past few days. You should also go and pick out a few divine artifacts and medicinal pills. In the future, there will be many uses for you. Please don't refuse. A cry of surprise rang out. Whether it was Hong Yu, Xiao Nia, Lu Guiyun, or the others, all of them were stunned, especially Hong Yu, whose eyes were filled with disbelief. Fellow Lin, are you sure you want to give me some divine artifacts and medicinal pills? After coming back to his senses, although he knew he had heard clearly, he still could not help but ask. That's right, but if you don't want them, I won't force you, Lin Rei said with a smile. I want them. After receiving confirmation, Hong Yu smiled and joined the selection. On the side, Lu Guichen was not willing to fall behind. He picked left and right, basically taking everything that Hong Yu fancied. In order not to arouse Lin Rei's disgust, Hong Yu casually picked 3 divine artifacts and 2 bottles of medicinal pills before leaving. Many thanks for fellow Lin's generosity. If you need this Hong Yu's help in the future, just let me know. Whether it's climbing a mountain of blades or diving into a sea of flames, as long as you ask, this Hong Yu will definitely fulfill your request. Pavilion Master Hong must be joking. Climbing a mountain of blades or diving into a sea of flames is not an option, but I will still need Pavilion Master Hong to provide me with some information in the future. Lin Rei had a very good impression of Hong Yu, so he would not give him divine artifacts and medicinal pills. Yes. As long as you want to know, this Hong Yu will definitely find it for you. At this moment, Hong Yu decided that he had to befriend Lin Rei, no matter how many enemies he would encounter. He vaguely felt that as long as he could befriend Lin Rei, his future would be smooth sailing. Good. Hearing Lin Rei and Hong Yu's laughter, Lu Guiyun could not help but sigh and feel a sense of loss. At this moment, he dearly wished that the person chatting and laughing with Lin Rei was him and not Hong Yu. Thinking of this, he walked over to the side and cupped his hands, saying, Fellow cultivator Lin, please put away the remaining items. These items are enough to offset the value of your previous auction items. As he spoke, Lu Guiyun took out 2 divine artifacts. One of them was the sword that Lu Yao had picked up earlier, while the other was a pair of dual sabers. However, each saber was a high-grade divine artifact. Not bad. Coiling dragon sabers and phoenix feather sword. It seems that Pavilion Master Lu is quite perceptive. These 2 items are among the best of the best among these divine artifacts. They are at least 4 or 5 times as powerful as high-grade divine artifacts. Lin Rei was not boasting in the slightest. It was not just because of the illusory spirit blood fire. More importantly, these 2 divine artifacts had some formations and talismans that he had inscribed into them, so their power was unimaginable. However, this also required the person who wanted them to be powerful. Otherwise, they would not be able to subdue them. Fellow cultivator Lin is joking. Although he said this, Lu Guiyun was very happy. Fellow cultivator Lin, are you selling these divine artifacts and pills? If you are, then sorry, these things are all gifts, so I won't be buying them. As he spoke, he turned to Hong Yuaning and said, let's go. It's time to go back. Are we leaving already? A weak voice came from the side. HM. In response to this voice, everyone looked over. It was none other than Lu Yao. That's right. The matter here has already been resolved, and there is no reason for me to stay here, so. Shrugging, he walked past Lu Guiyun and the others and stepped out of the room. They're out? They're out, they're finally out. I want to see who it is that dares to oppose this old man again and again. At this time, Hu Yi, who had been waiting on the second floor for a long time, moved out. Chapter 935. Husband, do you want me to? No need. Without waiting for Ing to finish her words, Lin Rei stopped her. He's just a lackey, let him jump around for a while. I want to see how far he can jump. At this moment, Lin Rei had stopped. As for Hu Yi's ferocious actions, he had activated his divine sense to monitor him. As long as he didn't make a move and didn't cause trouble, everyone would be happy. However, if he made a move and had the intention to kill him, there would only be one result. Of course, the ending had been decided the moment Hu Yi had the intention to kill him. What are you talking about? At this moment, Hong Yu, who was standing beside Lin Rei, was dumbfounded. However, from what he heard just now, he could guess that someone was about to do something irrational. Nothing, bang. A muffled sound rang out, interrupting Lin Li's words. Oh, it seems that I don't need to say anything. Turning his head to look at the damaged private room on the second floor, Lin Rei smiled and said, see for yourself. He is. As he spoke, Lin Rei looked over. At this moment, an old man appeared on the second floor, and beside him was a young man. However, from the oppressive aura he felt from the young man, Hong Yu didn't think that the young man was a simple junior. Hu Yi, if I didn't guess wrong, you are the Hu Yi that 16 mentioned. At this moment, Lin Rei spoke first. Lin Rei already knew Hu Yi's identity. What did you do to 16? Looking at Lin Rei, Hu Yi frowned and his killing intent soared. He still had some feelings for 16. After all, she had followed him for many years. So you are the deputy sect leader of the nameless sect. At this moment, Hong Yu reacted. However, his gaze wasn't focused on Hu Yi, but the young man beside him. You must be the sect leader of the nameless sect that you deliberately mentioned. As he spoke, Hong Yu couldn't help but cup his hands. Hearing Hong Yu's words, the young man also cupped his hands and nodded. Yes, I am the sect leader of the nameless sect, Wu Shi. Heh. Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei couldn't help but sneer. He took a step forward and his figure instantly disappeared. The appearance of this scene stunned everyone present. Whether it was the nameless sect or Hong Lu, or even everyone who was still in the auction house, it could be explained why they released their divine consciousness to search for Lin Rei's existence. However, the result of the search made everyone's eyes pop out. This was because in their consciousness, there was no Lin Rei's existence at all. It could even be said that there was not even a trace of his aura. It was as if this person had never appeared. How could this be? Where did he go? At this moment, this thought appeared in the minds of everyone present, circling in their minds like a curse. This seemed to have become a puzzle that everyone present did not understand. They wanted to explore and uncover that layer of fog, but they realized that they did not have the ability to do so. I really don't get it. How did you muster up the courage to kill me with such a petty trick? A voice rang out, reverberating in every corner of the square. Hearing this voice, everyone's body trembled, and a feeling of wanting to submit spontaneously arose in their hearts. What are you trying to do? Hui was terrified of the person he wanted to kill just now. He could feel that he was no match for that person. It could even be said that he did not have the qualifications to be his enemy. TSK. That's a good question. At this moment, Lin Ray was in no hurry. His tone was extremely calm, like the calm lake without the slightest ripple. You were the one who provoked me from the beginning. Originally, as long as you didn't make a move, I wouldn't make a move. After all, I don't want to do troublesome things. But, suddenly, the tone of the conversation changed. The surrounding air froze, and the temperature suddenly dropped to a freezing point. But you should never have had the intention to kill this sovereign. You should know that people who have the intention to kill this sovereign will either die, or lose the ability to have the intention to kill in this lifetime. Ben Zun, could it be that you are? Hui was dumbfounded when he heard the other party call himself Ben Zun. Only those who had reached the divine realm could call themselves that. But now, how can this be? He's a hierarch. I didn't expect Brother Lin to be a hierarch expert. He's too strong. Yeah, I didn't expect him to be a hierarch expert. I thought he was just an emperor god. I was too rash. At this moment, Lin Li's words caused a huge commotion. They had never imagined that a godly venerable would appear here. At this moment, the nameless sect was the most worried one, especially Hui. He did not expect the person he wanted to kill to be a hierarch expert. If he knew that the other party was so strong, he would not have acted so presumptuously even if he was beaten to death. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. There was no other way. Since things had already happened, there was no turning back. Husband, time is limited. The sooner we finish this, the sooner we can leave. There are still many things waiting for us to do. Ing said while everyone was still in a daze. All right, I understand. No, I was wrong, Hui was afraid. He knew that his life was coming to an end. He did not want to remember that there were still many things waiting for him to do. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Since things have already happened, remember to be a good person in your next life. No, I don't think you have a next life. When the voice was heard, everyone felt a gust of cold wind blowing past them. Their bodies trembled and they could not help but take a step back. Some of them even subconsciously went to the corner and wrapped themselves tightly. No. The voice was heard. His eyes were wide open, his mouth was wide open, his hands were clutching his neck and the veins on his forehead were popping out. It was as if something was stuck in his throat, causing him to be unable to breathe. Sigh. What a pity. A divine monarch expert has been destroyed because of his own worries. I really hope that I won't have to do this in my next life. Isn't it good to be a good person? At this moment, Lin Ray's figure had already appeared. He could not help but sigh as he walked in the void. Looking at his figure, everyone only had one thought in their mind. Don't make an enemy out of this person. With a plop, Hui's body suddenly fell to the ground. However, his appearance was no different from before. His hands were clutching his neck and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked very ferocious. Let's go. He came to Ing and the others and said. As for Lu Guiyun and the others, Lin Ray did not even look at them from beginning to end, let alone say goodbye to them. Let's go. This time, there was no more trouble. Everyone left the Wanbao Pavilion. However, Lin Ray's departure gave the people of the Wanbao Pavilion a chance to breathe. The nameless sect has suffered a great loss this time. This time, even the vice sect leader is dead. Yes, but I have never heard of this nameless sect. Now, a divine monarch expert has appeared. This is a bit interesting. TCH, so what? Isn't it just a divine monarch? Which sect doesn't have one? After Lin Rei left, the auction completely changed. It was no longer as silent as before. At this moment, there was nothing to do but talk. It was very lively. In response, the young man of the nameless sect stood to the side indifferently. He looked coldly at Hu Yi's body lying in front of him. There was not a trace of emotion in his calm eyes. So be it. Fortunately, I already know that the aura was released by that person just now, he thought to himself. Then, he turned around and ignored Hu Yi's body. He walked out of the auction house. In response, no one dared to stop him. It was not that they did not dare. It was just that they were not in the mood to stop him at this moment. Because of this matter, their good mood disappeared. They were even afraid that Lin Rei would turn around and kill them. Therefore, when the nameless sect leader spoke, the others all put their emotions on the table and left the auction house one by one. They even left this dead city. Regarding this matter, as the host, Lu Guiyun was extremely regretful. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. Especially after seeing Lin Rei's display of strength. It was beyond his imagination. A hierarch was one of the top existences in the god world. He did not expect a young man to come to this dead city. In his impression, most hierarchs were the type who avoided the world and went into seclusion. But today, Lin Rei's actions had refreshed his impression. Hong Tower. Lin Rei and the others walked out of the Thousand Treasures Pavilion. They did not speak along the way. Hong Yu and Lu Guiyun did not even dare to breathe loudly. It was as if they would die if they made a sound. Lin Rei knew about this situation. But he did not care. After all, it was not a big deal. At the entrance of Hong Tower, Lin Rei and the others finally arrived. The moment they stepped into Hong Tower, they were welcomed by an anxious young man. Is there news? The young man was none other than the person who had received them in Hong Tower. Yes, there's news. Seeing Lin Rei and the others, the young man glanced at Hong Yu and said, I just received news that the Xianming Valley in the north had discovered something similar to what you mentioned. But the details are still to be investigated. After all, it's too far away, but at this moment, Lin Rei had completely shut off the young man's words. Xianming Valley in the north? A look of anticipation flashed through his eyes. Even though his body was here, his heart had already flown to the Xianming Valley. Do you want to leave now? Ing asked as he sensed something. Hee, you know me well. Lin Rei laughed as Ing pointed out Xin Zhongda's thoughts. Che, don't think I don't know you. Even though he said that, his face was filled with joy. Brother Lin. Oh no, Senior Lin, are you leaving now? Hong Yu heard everything clearly as Lin Rei and Hong Yu did not try to hide their conversation. Yes, I'm here for this piece of news. Since I've already gotten the news, it's time for us to leave. Then, 10 thumb-sized jade tablets appeared in his hand. He handed them to Hong Yu and said, these are sound transmission jade tablets. If you find any information about the space, you can use them to inform me. Of course, in order to provide me with information, you can come to me if you have any trouble. If you can't find the space, go to the other 8 continents outside the 9th region and look for the Xuanzong sect. When you arrive, tell them that Lin Rei asked them to send someone to solve your problem. Then, he looked at Hong Yu and continued, as long as you don't offend a saint, I believe they'll solve it for you. Thank you, Senior. Thousands of words were condensed into one sentence. With a grateful expression, he took the jade tablet and held it tightly in his hand. He had already buried the name of the Xuanzong sect deep in his heart. Yes. That's good. He looked outside and a smile appeared on his face. Then, he turned around and left Honglu with Yin and Yang, leaving the dead city. Sigh, they're leaving. They stood at the entrance of Hong Lu and looked at the backs of Lin Rei and the others until they disappeared from their sight. Then, they looked away and calmed down. There's no other way. Senior Lin's cultivation is so low. It's impossible to draw him to our Hong Lu. Xiao Nia understood Hong Yu's thoughts and said bluntly, besides, you didn't hear that in the other 8 continents outside the 9th region, he said that if Hong Lu is in danger, we can go to the Xuanzong sect. He also said that as long as it's not a saint, everything can be solved. Hiss, you're saying. Suddenly, Hong Yu reacted. The amount of information in this sentence was too much. That's right. I suspect that the Xuanzong sect that Senior Lin mentioned is most likely the sect he belongs to. Think about it, he's already an ultimate god at such a young age. How bad can his sect be? The two looked at each other and smiled. They knew that they made the right choice and that was why they received such a generous reward. Northern region, Wushuan Mountain. 2 people and a rabbit walked on the mountain road. It was a funny scene. Rabbit, did you say that the power of space you felt came from this direction? At that moment, the man asked the rabbit beside him. Nonsense. The rabbit rolled its eyes and said, you don't believe in my ability. Don't forget what my original form is. Even if other things can be wrong, I dare to guarantee that I won't be wrong about this. It's in this direction. Then, the rabbit walked on its own as if it was angry and ignored the 2 people behind it. Seeing the rabbit's behavior, the man was stunned. He looked helplessly at Nu Yi beside him and smiled bitterly. It seems that she's angry. Yes, I think so too, but... The woman smiled and said, it's very serious if we make the rabbit angry. What do you think we should do? At that moment, Ruo Lin could recognize that the man in front of him was his clone, Sakura. The woman and rabbit beside him must be the embodiment of the great path of slaughter, the Dubhe rabbit and Tian Ning. Looking at Tian Ning, Sakura pretended to think and said, yes, I remember that I still have a blue whale eel in my storage ring. I wonder if, yes. Not waiting for the Sakura to finish speaking, the little white rabbit's footsteps suddenly stopped, and then she turned around and said eagerly. Chapter 936. So fragrant. In the mountain forest, there was a flat open space surrounded by tall and lush trees. In this open space, a bonfire was burning, and a piece of meat of an unknown species was hanging on it. The fragrance wafted in all directions. And the funny thing was that beside this bonfire, there was a little white rabbit. It was looking at the meat on the bonfire with a longing look. Its eyes were full of stars, as if it couldn't wait to eat it immediately. Heh, rabbit, you're a slaughter source. Can you not be so gluttonous? Look at you now. You don't look like a slaughter source at all. You're just a glutton. Looking at the rabbit's appearance, Sakura was very helpless, but there was nothing he could do. Without boasting, even he was drooling over the barbecue on the bonfire. After all, the raw material of this barbecue was a species that he had just discovered. He had never seen it before, let alone eaten it. And there wasn't a lot of this kind of meat. Now, the last piece on the bonfire was already there. If it wasn't for the rabbit, Sakura probably wouldn't have contributed it and would have secretly tasted it himself. What do you know? What is the best in the world? First of all, it is your own strength. With strength, you have the qualification to walk sideways. Secondly, it is delicious food. As the saying goes, only delicious food can't be let down. With that, the rabbit proudly glanced at Sakura, then its gaze returned to the barbecue, so, in front of delicious food, everything can be thrown away. It reached out its hand towards the barbecue on the bonfire. It really couldn't bear it anymore. It was already very rare to be able to endure until now. With a crisp, paw sound, the rabbit's hand that had just popped out suddenly felt pain. It quickly retracted its hand and turned its head to stare at Sakura with a look of disgust. It looked like it was saying that if you understand me, I will eat you. Don't move, it's not done yet. With that, it reached out and took out a rare treasure. Using its spiritual power, the rare treasure suddenly turned into powder and scattered on the barbecue. Let me tell you, before the barbecue is done, don't move, otherwise, it won't be delicious. Alright, don't be like this. Tian-Ning couldn't bear to watch the two of them act like this and hurriedly spoke up to stop them. Look at the two of you. One is a godly venerable expert, and the other is a great path origin. Can't you act like a true expert? Look at the difference between the two of you and a glutton. Ugh. Hearing this, Sakura stopped what he was doing and his left hand stopped above the barbecue. As for Rabbit, she looked at the old man and her sister suspiciously. Both of them looked as though they had already confirmed it, which made Tian-Ning blush. What are you looking at? Am I wrong? As she spoke, she moved her body away from the barbecued meat. However, anyone could tell that Tian-Ning had moved closer to the barbecued meat. The two of them rolled their eyes and were speechless. Looking at Tian-Ning's duplicity, Sakura smiled and a dagger appeared in his hand. He cut off a small piece of roasted meat and handed it to Tian-Ning. Ah, it's done. Looking at the barbecued meat in front of her, Tian-Ning didn't even think about it. She was all smiles and reached out to take it. When this scene appeared, whether it was Sakura or Heavenly Pivot Rabbit, both of them indulged in it without any consideration. As for Tian-Ning, she didn't care about the two's laughter. At this moment, she was most concerned about whether the meat in her hand tasted good or not. Asterisk whoosh, asterisk in the distance, a blue light beam appeared and streaked across the sky. Its speed was so fast that it made people speechless. The direction of the light beam wasn't anywhere else but the forest where Sakura and the others were at. The appearance of the blue light beam in the distance attracted the attention of Sakura, who was roasting meat. As someone who was walking on the edge of death, if he stayed in a place for too long, he would involuntarily release his divine sense to ensure his safety and the situation around him. When the light beam broke into the range of his divine sense, Sakura immediately noticed it. He abruptly stood up, but then sat back down. Not for any other reason but because that light beam was none other than the communication jade slip that he and Lin Rei had exchanged. Whoosh! When the sound of air breaking approached, Tian-Ning noticed it and stopped eating. She turned her head and looked at the direction of the sound with vigilance. The Heavenly Pivot Rabbit also did the same. No need to panic. There is no danger. Noticing Tian-Ning and Tian-Ning's actions, Sakura spoke, but his eyes were fixed on the direction of the sound. Finally, the blue light beam approached and was caught by Sakura. He injected his spirit force and an afterimage appeared not far away. It was none other than Lin Rei, who was thousands of miles away. Sakura, I have already left the Death City. The spatial information I obtained from the Red House is in the North region. It's called the Xianming Valley. I am now heading towards the North region with Ying and Tian-Ning. As he spoke, Lin Rei glanced at Tian-Ning and Tian-Ning. Looking at them, Lin Rei said, I think the two of you were created by the Slaughter Dao origin. You don't have to speak. This is just a message left by the original body's afterimage. As if he knew that Tian-Ning and Tian-Ning were going to speak, Lin Rei left this message in advance. Tian-Ning and Tian-Ning didn't speak. Lin Rei continued, many thanks to the two of you for helping me find the space origin. This sovereign will definitely repay this kindness. You can ask for anything you want. As long as this sovereign can do it, I won't hesitate even if it means killing you. As soon as he finished speaking, the afterimage suddenly shattered. Without giving anyone a chance to speak, a thumb-sized jade slip lay quietly in Sakura's hand. It didn't have the light from before. It seems that this sovereign is anxious. Looking at the jade slip in his hand, Sakura smiled bitterly. He understood the importance of the space origin to this sovereign. He also knew what was involved in it. He couldn't be careless or sloppy about it. Because this was not only related to this sovereign's life. If something happened to this sovereign, then he wouldn't have an easy time. No matter what the reason was, he wouldn't hesitate to do his best. That was Lin Rei just now, which is also your sovereign. Tian-Ning put down the barbecued meat in her hand and looked at Sakura with deep affection. Yes, this guy actually dares to call himself this sovereign in front of this sovereign. Isn't he a little too bold? Hee. Looking at the two of them, Sakura smiled and said, "You two don't understand me. He is the kind of person who can often create miracles. Although he himself always seems to keep people 1,000 miles away from him, his ability is very powerful." As he spoke, he looked at the Dubhy rabbit and said, "Even if your way of the Matrix is so powerful, if the person trapped in the Butterfly Valley was me, I probably wouldn't have been trapped for a few days. I would have been able to break through it in a matter of minutes." Oh. Looking at Sakura, the two of them didn't expect him to give his sovereign such a high evaluation. Especially when Dubhy Rabbit heard that Lin Rei could break his array Dao in minutes. Regarding this, Dubhy Rabbit was very disdainful. He didn't believe that Lin Rei could do this. As for Sakura's words, he wouldn't accept them all. After all, without seeing it with his own eyes, who knew if it was true or not? In short, when you meet up with this sovereign, you will understand what I said just now. I only know how to talk about children and not be arrogant. Smiling at the two of them, he then held the jade slip tightly and injected his spiritual energy into it. He transmitted what he wanted to say and his current location into the jade slip. Go! The moment he transmitted what he wanted to say into the jade slip, he raised his hand and threw the jade slip out. With a whoosh, the jade slip turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. What should we do next? Seeing that Sakura was done, Dubhy Rabbit asked with a serious face. That's right. Now that your true body is here, if you find the space origin, I'm afraid you'll have a tough battle ahead of you. You should know that the space origin is extremely powerful. Even I'm so weak in front of it. Sigh. I'm afraid we can only wait for Lin Rei to come for this matter. He understood Tian-Ning and Tian-Ning's worries. However, when it came to the spatial origin, even if he was Lin Rei's clone, it was impossible to persuade him to give up. Moreover, he wouldn't just sit there like this. Lin Rei wasn't the only one who yearned for the pinnacle of Tao. He, Sakura, also had this thought. Perhaps it was because he was influenced by Lin Rei's yearning. The scene became solemn. Sakura, who noticed this, quickly shook his head and threw all the bad things to the back of his mind. The solemn expression on his face disappeared and was replaced by a full smile. Today, let's not talk about those unhappy things. Let's talk about the happy things. What's the matter? Hearing Sakura's words, Dubhy Rabbit and Tian-Ning were stunned and doubts emerged. Of course, have you forgotten what this sovereign said just now? In order to repay you, he said he will try his best to fulfill your request. So, your request is... Looking at Sakura's excited look, the two were speechless. They thought Lin Rei was joking, but seeing Sakura acting like this, Tian-Ning and Dubhy Rabbit were indeed somewhat surprised. It's fine. Hurry up and say it. It's a waste not to take Lin Rei's things. Moreover, the things he gave us are all good stuff. Even I can't compare to them. Achoo. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was thousands of miles away, suddenly sneezed. He was very puzzled. For an existence of his realm, it was impossible for an ordinary illness to happen to them. But just now, could it be that someone is missing me? Although he was puzzled, he didn't linger on this matter and immediately sped up. If Linley knew that the reason why he sneezed just now was because Sakura wanted to trick him, then one could imagine the scene that would unfold. Husband, we've been flying for so long. Shouldn't we stop and take a rest? The road ahead is still long. At the side, Ing looked at her husband worriedly and said, there's a village not far ahead. What do you think? After that, she looked at Bing and signaled for her to speak. As for Ying's intention, Bing naturally understood. Yes, husband. Those two pitiful big eyes made Lin Ray's heart tremble. He nodded helplessly and agreed. Okay. We'll go wherever you want to go. Great. After getting Lin Ray's agreement, the two women were excited. They sped up and disappeared before Lin Ray's eyes. Helplessly shaking his head, he sped up and chased after them. In the distance, a village appeared in front of Lin Ray and the other two. However, when they saw the embryonic village not far ahead, Lin Ray frowned and couldn't help but stop. What's wrong? Seeing that their husband stopped, the two women naturally stopped as well. However, they didn't understand why when they approached, but, is there a smell of blood? Understanding the doubts of the two women, Lin Ray said. Then, he released his divine sense and instantly scanned the entire village. However, Lin Ray's face became uglier and uglier. How is it? Is there any difference? Looking at their husband's current appearance, the two women's hearts tightened. A bad premonition surged in their hearts. In their understanding, whenever Lin Ray showed such an expression, something bad must have happened. Sure enough, Lin Ray opened his mouth at the next moment. There are no survivors in the village ahead. Looking at the traces, it should have been destroyed not long ago. The bloodstains haven't dried yet. What? Hearing this news, the two women's bodies shook violently. Their minds went blank and they staggered. They almost fell from the sky. Fortunately, Lin Ray was quick enough to support them. How could it be? Who is so cruel that they didn't even let ordinary people go and destroyed the village? How much hatred do they have to be so ruthless? That's right. Who is it? Looking at the huge village in front of them, the two women couldn't tell. In their opinion, although they weren't good people, at least they weren't bad people. They wouldn't do such a heartless thing. Attacking ordinary people was a big taboo in the cultivation world, not to mention destroying a village. Looking at the two women, Lin Ray sighed. This matter isn't up to you two. Since they were destroyed, it means that they were destined to face this calamity. It's unavoidable. Saying that, in order to not let this matter affect the mood of the two women, he quickly changed the topic. Alright, as the saying goes, if it doesn't concern you, don't worry about it. Since we can't stay here, let's, husband, why don't we, see what exactly is going on here? That's right, husband. Since we encountered this matter, it means that we are fated to meet this matter. Since we are fated and we have such strength, at most, it will just take some time. What do you think, Lin Ray? He wanted to refuse, but looking at the two women's pleading faces, the thread in his heart was touched. He suddenly softened and nodded in agreement. I really don't know what to do with you two. Thank you, husband. Thank you, husband. The two women understood that since Lin Ray said so, it meant that he had agreed to this matter. Moreover, he would find the culprit who destroyed the village and let them get the retribution they deserved. Sigh. Lin Ray didn't respond to the two women's gratitude. He turned around and looked at the mountain village in front of him. Without holding back, his divine sense spread out in all directions with the village as the center. Everything within a radius of tens of thousands of miles appeared in Lin Ray's mind. Chapter 937. While investigating the surrounding situation, Lin Ray used a small tracking spell. But strangely, no matter how Lin Ray searched, he couldn't find any trace of the people who destroyed this village. Even within a radius of tens of thousands of miles, he couldn't find any trace of the enemy. Could it be that they ran far away? He muttered to himself. Then, he increased the range of his divine sense. His divine sense broke through to a new height again. No, the bloodstains have dried up. Those people must not have gone far, but, on the side, feeling her husband's anxious mood, she frowned and her face turned ugly. She understood that if even Lin Ray couldn't find them, those ordinary people in the village would have died in vain. Husband, it's okay. I can find them. Don't worry. In order not to disappoint his wife, Lin Rei decided that he must catch those beasts to win a smile from his wife. Although he had made up his mind, there was no progress on the surface. This was undoubtedly a slap in his face. Humph, bastard, where are you hiding? A tyrannical aura surged in his heart. Evil chi gushed out in an instant. He couldn't understand. With his divine sense and strength, it shouldn't be difficult to track those people who had just escaped. But now, no, could it be? Suddenly, Lin Rei's face changed dramatically. He seemed to have thought of a possibility. Then, he retracted all his divine sense and looked at the ground. A flash of light appeared. If there is no one in the sky or on the road, then, underground. Thinking, his divine sense moved and instantly drilled into the ground. In fact, he really had no other choice. After all, there was no one in the sky or on the ground. The only way to escape was to go underground. This was what he could think of as the ninth disciple. It was also the place that he didn't explore. However, in the next moment, Lin Rei, who was still frowning with a bitter expression, didn't relax for a moment. The bitter expression on his face disappeared and was replaced by a comfortable smile. Humph, if I had known that you would escape from underground, I wouldn't have wasted so much time. At this moment, in Lin Rei's mind, a group of people were crawling under the ground at an amazing speed like ants. At this moment, Lin Rei was 100% sure that those villagers were killed by them. Because there was a faint red light flashing on their bodies. Generally, it would only appear when or after killing people. Lin Rei was sure of this. Tracking them with divine sense, Lin Rei retracted his gaze and smiled at his wife. Let's go, I found them. Let's go. Blur instantly charged out, transforming into a streak of light as he spoke, heading in the direction Linley had pointed. Wait for us? Seeing his wife so anxious, Linley smiled helplessly. He stretched out his hand and grabbed ice. In a flash, he chased after Obscurus. The three of them were so fast that in the blink of an eye, they arrived above the people who were supposed to be underground. However, Lin Rei didn't plan to attack them now. Previously, Lin Rei saw that they were very fast and very orderly. What surprised Lin Rei even more was that their cultivation methods were all of the earth element, and their spiritual roots were also of the earth element. Therefore, Lin Rei was sure that they must have a powerful force behind them, and that force was not small. Looking at them, Lin Rei even guessed that they were from a sect. If they were ordinary thieves, it would be impossible for them to be so orderly, so, husband, let's do it. Ing couldn't help but say. No. Now is not the time. Lin Rei said firmly. He also understood Ying's doubts, so he immediately explained his idea to her. After a few minutes, Ying, who understood the seriousness of the matter, nodded her head repeatedly. Her expression was full of admiration for Lin Rei. Well, since my husband has arranged it this way, I will follow your arrangement. After saying that, Ying was no longer as irritable as before. She just followed him quietly. However, at this moment, a group of people was quickly moving underground. There were probably more than 30 cultivators, and each of them was wearing the same clothes. They were earth-colored, and the aura on their bodies was quite compatible with the earth. In the face of such a group, if one was careless, they would probably pass by this group of people. Third Master, don't you think we have gone too far this time? After all, that is a village with tens of thousands of people. Will the First Master punish us? Yes. Third Master, this is the life of tens of thousands of people. If the First Master knows that we have killed so many people, we will lose our heads. Moreover, that village has always been paying tribute to our stronghold. At this moment, behind the middle-aged man in the lead, 3 people took turns talking. Judging from their appearance and clothes, their status in the stronghold was not low. It could even be said that they were quite high. The one in the lead was naturally the Third Master that the 3 of them were talking about. However, his appearance was a little scary. Everything else was fine. The third master, who was moving forward, suddenly stopped. Then, the people behind him did the same. Some of them did not stop in time and directly crashed into their companions. However, no one dared to be negligent. After all, the one who stopped the least was their leader. The third master turned around and looked at the three people in front of him with a helpless expression. "I say, can you guys stop nagging like an old lady? Didn't we just destroy a village? Is there a need to make a fuss? Is there a need to let Big Brother know?" But, hearing the third master's words, one of the three people retorted, "But what about the annual tribute? Tens of thousands of people pay tribute. This is not a small amount. If the first master investigates, then the consequences." "That's right, third master. The first master said that they are the parents of our livelihood. Ever since the first master subdued Fengyuan, he has never touched ordinary people. Enough, stop talking." Seeing that he could not out-talk them, the third master directly roared, "This matter has already come to this. Then we will deal with it according to the current situation. As for the tribute issue, we will talk about it when the time comes. As the saying goes, counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Even if we can't stop it and Big Brother finds out, I will take care of it. I believe Big Brother will not do anything to me." After saying that, he cast a reassuring look to the people behind him, then turned around and continued moving forward. "Heh, you're still talking about loyalty." In the air, Linley, who had been watching them this entire time, laughed inwardly when he heard the third master's words. He didn't think that such a vicious person would actually say such words. But even so, Lin Ray had not seen the third master's killing intent at all. On the contrary, it had increased a lot. Just based on the third master's words, so what if he killed him? Silently, they followed the third manager's group as they charged into the depths of the northern region. As time passed, the third manager's group moved faster and faster, and they only came to a stop when they had covered a distance of 60,000 kilometers. Shuehun Stockade. At this moment, seeing the third master and his people stop, Lin Ray took Yin and Yang to a hiding place and spread out his divine sense. In front of them, not far from Lin Ray, a large stockade appeared in Lin Ray's divine sense. Above the gate of the stockade, 3 big words were engraved on it. Looking at those 3 words, Linley was certain that those 3 large red words had definitely been written with blood. Only, he didn't know what sort of method had been used to keep them so fresh and bright, and the smell of blood hadn't spread out at all. It's getting more and more interesting. With such methods, such a large stockade, and such a strict system, it's not an exaggeration to say that this is a sect. That's right. It was a school. Linley had thoroughly investigated this stronghold, both inside and out. There were strict rules and regulations within it. To put it bluntly, this was a school. In fact, it was even more perfect than most schools. The only difference was that the cultivators in this stockade had very low cultivation. The strongest cultivator that Lin Ray could perceive was only at the late stage of Divine Monarch realm. As for the third master who had been following them, his cultivation was only at the early stage of Divine Ancestor realm, and he had just broken through. "How is it, husband? Is this their lair?" Sensing that Lin Ray had withdrawn his divine sense, Ing could not wait to ask. "Yes, is this really their lair? If it is, let's hurry up and kill our way in." Bing on the side echoed. Looking at the 2 women beside him, Lin Ray slapped his forehead and shook his head helplessly. "You two, can you not be so anxious? They're right here, they can't run away. What's more, with your cultivation, do you think they can escape?" Hearing Lin Ray's question, Ing and Bing looked at each other and then quieted down. Sigh. Looking at them, Lin Ray sighed. "In a while, you two stay here. I'll go in and take a look. If there's no danger, I'll inform you, okay? We want to go in too." "Yes, we want to go in too. You just said that with our strength, they can't find us, okay?" Bing begged. She stared at Linley with her large, watery eyes. But at this moment, Linley turned around and refused to look at her. In a firm voice, he said, "This matter is non-negotiable." "Okay, this matter is settled. I'll go in and take a look. When there's no danger, you two can go in." With that, he did not stay any longer. He was afraid that if he stayed any longer, the previous scene would happen again. Whoosh, with a small invisibility spell, he disappeared in an instant. Then, a strong wind swept through the two women's hair. "It seems that our husband has left," Ing said in disappointment. "Yes." A touch of disappointment appeared. Bing found a clean stone and sat down. At this moment, in the deepest hall of the village, the third leader who had just returned was standing in the middle of the hall. A smile appeared on his face. He looked up at the middle-aged man who was sitting at the top. "Big brother, this time I'm exhausted. Do you want me to go down and rest first? When I'm done, I'll come back." Bang. Without waiting for the third leader to finish his words, the middle-aged man reached out and slammed the table beside him. Suddenly, the table was torn into pieces and scattered on the ground. "Bastard, tell me what you've done, huh?" A roar followed. It could be heard that the man was really angry. "Big brother, what about you? Do you know that those ordinary people are people who worship us like gods? Moreover, they are people who give us tributes. You actually wiped out the entire village. Do you know that cultivators are not allowed to kill ordinary people? If you do that, we will be ostracized and hunted down by all the cultivators in the divine realm. Why did you do that?" "That's right, second brother." At this moment, a middle-aged man who was sitting at the bottom stood up and asked in puzzlement, "Did those people offend you? Or did they do something disrespectful to you? Why did you kill them?" "You," hearing the words of the person next to him, the third leader's face turned gloomy. He turned his head to look at the man sitting at the top and said, "Big brother, it happened naturally. It's useless to say anything more. Just say it. How do you want to punish me? Are you trying to anger me to death?" Seeing the third leader's reaction, the middle-aged man became anxious. "Third brother, how can you anger your big brother like this? Do you know what kind of consequences your recklessness will bring to the village? If this matter is spread to other villages, what will they do? Will they invite people from the sect to deal with us?" At this moment, the third leader was silent. He understood the seriousness of the matter, but it had already happened. Even if he tried to make up for it, it would be useless. Sigh. Looking at his two younger brothers, the middle-aged man felt powerless. "All right, let's leave it at that. As for third brother, you broke the rules because of the destruction of the village. As the saying goes, nothing can be accomplished without rules. Since you broke the rules, you must accept the punishment. Big brother, Hearing the word punishment, the third leader's face changed greatly. He knew what the rules were. Everyone in the village knew how terrifying the punishment was. It was also because of the existence of the punishment that the people in the village were so well behaved. Say no more. He waved his hand to reject the third leader's plea. Since you broke the rules, you must abide by them. As the third leader of the village, you must set an example. So, the man sitting at the top abruptly raised his head to look at the entrance. His face became very serious. I wonder which fellow Taoist has come to this village head's territory without saying hello. Isn't that a bit impolite? Suddenly, the man's tone changed, causing the two people below to be puzzled. Not coming out. After a few minutes, there was still no one coming out. At this moment, the man sneered and continued, "All right, since fellow Taoist doesn't want to show yourself, I can only personally invite you out." After saying that, the man's figure moved to the entrance of a dense forest outside the door. Looking into the dense forest, he coldly shouted, "Still not coming out? Could it be that you really want me to take action?" At this moment, in the dense forest, seeing the middle-aged man appear, Lin Ray was very shocked. Others might not know, but he knew very well that his concealment ability was very good. Ordinary people would not be able to discover him, but, at this moment. Chapter 938. Since you are so stubborn, don't blame me for being impolite. As he spoke, a fire appeared, and a disaster appeared in the sky above the forest. The fire was so big that it made people speechless. My God, Big Brother's mysterious fire force has been cultivated to such a level. It seems that it is impossible to surpass him in this lifetime. Yes, Big Brother's mysterious fire force is very powerful, especially when he can turn his body into a sea of blood. We can't compete with him just because of this. What's more, the second leader said with envy in his eyes, with the power of Big Brother's flame, even you and I will be turned into ashes in an instant. Subconsciously, the two couldn't help but imagine. As a result, they quickly abandoned the terrible fantasy. TSK, this flame is not bad. At this moment, Lin Ray's thoughts were completely different from the third leader's. There was no trace of fear in his heart, only shock. This cultivation method is a bit unique, and this flame is very powerful. If I can refine and use it properly, or add a kind of heavenly flame, then. Thinking about it, Lin Ray revealed a touch of desire on his face. If the first leader saw his face at this moment, he would be vigilant and retreat. I will count to 3. If you don't come out, then don't blame me. The middle-aged man said again. Alas. Idiot, why are there so many idiots today? Looking through the gaps between the trees and looking at the middle-aged man outside, his heart was in turmoil. 1. Staring at the depths of the forest, he wanted to see if the man could really resist to the end. 2. He blurted out 2 numbers, but there was still no sound in the forest. Not to mention a figure, even a beast or a bird did not appear. 3. Huff, huff, after counting to 3, the man did not hesitate. Under his control, the sea of fire covering the forest slowly approached the forest. The friction between the heat wave and the air made a whistling sound. Hey, I'd like to see who could come to our blood soul stockade without us noticing. Even the 2 of us didn't notice. TSK, with your little cultivation, you still have the nerve to say that? Looking at the third leader's words, the second leader showed disdain. You, look. The third boss still wanted to say something, but the second boss hurriedly reminded him the moment the word, you, left his mouth. At this moment, both of their gazes were focused on the dense forest. Looking at the raging sea of fire covering the dense forest, the scene was extremely fiery. Let's see if you'll still be alive. Sigh at the trouble my blood soul citadel has caused. Looking at the raging sea of fire, the third head secretly rejoiced. Boom. However, just when the 3 of them thought that the person in the dense forest was about to turn into ashes, a monstrous heatwave instantly surged out of the dense forest. The heatwave was so strong that it caused the first head to be stunned. A dignified and horrified expression appeared on his face. How is this possible? This heatwave. After personally experiencing the heatwave, he understood that the flames created by his profound fire strength were like ants in front of an elephant in front of the heatwave just now. Fear was indescribable and uncontrollable. It surged from his heart and spread throughout his entire body. Pa. Very good. This flame is already not much different from an ordinary heavenly flame. An emotionless voice came from the depths of the dense forest. This voice was like a demon's voice. When everyone heard it, it spread in their hearts and did not disappear. How is this possible? Regardless of whether it was the first head or the other 2, at this moment, their hearts were extremely shaken. They were incomparably terrified. They really could not understand how the person in the dense forest was still alive. Moreover, his voice was full of energy and did not sound like he was injured at all. Boom. Suddenly, the sea of fire shook. A blood-colored flame appeared in the middle of the sea of fire. In the middle of this blood-colored flame was a figure. Because there were 2 layers of flames, the first head and the others could not see the appearance of the figure in the flames. You're very good. I'm a little interested in your cultivation method. Give it to me and I'll let you go. Otherwise, just based on your impolite actions just now, I can kill you and exterminate all the people and beasts in your citadel that can still breathe. The blood-colored flame jumped out of the sea of fire. The moment the figure who released the blood-colored flame stepped out of the sea of fire, the blood-colored flame around him disappeared and Lin Rei's figure appeared in front of everyone. He glanced at the first head and then his gaze landed on the third head. Looking at him, a murderous aura emerged. With a cold tone, he said, "Tell me, how do you want to die? Tell me, and I'll give you a quick death." Me? Seeing the mysterious person who appeared pointing at him and saying such words, the third head was stunned. At the same time, he was very confused. He did not remember offending such an existence. On the side, the second head saw Lin Rei pointing at his third brother. He turned around to look at him and scolded, "Third brother, what did you do to make such an expert personally come to find you?" "That's right, third brother." The first head said, "Hurry up and tell us. If there's any misunderstanding, we have to resolve it quickly." Otherwise, hearing his 2 brothers say such words, the third head was even more confused. He really did not remember offending such an existence. He raised his head and looked at Lin Rei. This junior really does not understand what you mean. Even if you want me to die, you have to let this junior be a ghost that understands. You came to find me without any reason. This junior really feels wronged. That's right. Fellow Daoist, do you think there's some misunderstanding? If there really is, then I'll be the host today to apologize to you. How about it? The first head quickly agreed. He had always cared for the third head, his youngest brother, very much. He did not want his brother to lose his life because of something that did not matter to him. Misunderstanding. Seeing the 3 of them talking one after another, he did not feel touched. However, compared to the scene of the village being destroyed, this feeling was nothing. Yes, misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. Looking at the 3 of them, Lin Rei was very determined. "I followed your third brother all the way here. Do you think there's a misunderstanding?" "What, you?" Hearing this, the third head and the other 2 were shocked. They really did not expect it to be like this. Don't be so surprised. If you saw what your third brother did, then you wouldn't say that. It's just like the decision you made before. It's just that your decision was too light for those people who died. And the only thing that can make up for it is his life and the lives of all the people in that village. Only their lives can make up for those people." After saying that, Lin Rei's eyes became colder and colder. The surrounding temperature began to slowly drop because of Lin Rei's anger. The lives of tens of thousands of ordinary people were killed by your third brother just like that. In the cultivation world, there's already a rule that cultivators are not allowed to kill ordinary people. However, your third brother did it. Moreover, he did it very thoroughly, so his life, none of you should even think about keeping it. He moved. Lin Rei took a step forward and walked towards the third head. His speed was not very fast. However, every step he took left a mark in everyone's heart. It was like a sledgehammer that heavily pounded on their hearts. At this moment, after hearing Lin Rei's words, the 3 of them were suddenly enlightened. At the same time, 2 of them looked at their third brother with a complaining gaze. They did not expect that this matter would be targeted by such an expert. Moreover, the expert even followed them to their own cave. The third head was even more vexed. He did not expect that his whereabouts would be tracked. If he knew it would be like this, he would not have come back even if he was beaten to death. Unfortunately, everything was too late. The people were killed, the village was destroyed, and the expert had come. Everything had a cause and effect. Tendo's reincarnation was finally over. No, No, I still don't want to die. No, I don't. I don't want to die. Seeing that death was slowly approaching, the third head went crazy. He turned his head and looked at his elder brother. Plop. The third head directly kneeled down. He sobbed and begged the first head, Big brother, save me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Don't you love me the most? You help me. Help me, please, big brother. Looking at his third brother, the second head at the side could not stand it anymore. At this point, he understood that there was no possibility of turning the situation around. Especially after seeing Lin Rei's determined expression, looking at the third head, the second head said powerlessly, Third brother, there is no possibility of turning the situation around. Although those people you killed were only ordinary people, they were also living in the Great Tao, living in the reincarnation cycle. Everything is determined. Karma is reincarnation. Now that you have killed them, that is the cause. And the death you are about to face is the effect. The cycle of karma, the beginning and end of reincarnation, cannot be changed. This. Hearing his second brother's words, the first head was stunned. He originally wanted to attack, but he stopped. Yes, ordinary people are also living in the Great Tao. Saying that, the first head looked at his third brother and said, Third brother, a man should take responsibility for his own actions. Although I really want to save you, tens of thousands of people is not a small number. Moreover. Saying that, his eyes fell on Lin Rei. He said, I can't defeat this person. I can feel that even if my master comes personally, he might not be able to defeat him. So. Accept your fate. Boom. Hearing those two words, the third head's body trembled. It was as if he was struck by lightning. He was stunned on the spot. His mind was blank. His eyes were lifeless as he stared blankly ahead. Seeing the arrival of death, he understood the feeling of death. Your two brothers are not bad. They understand the cycle of karma and the cycle of karma. Not bad. If the world is filled with people like them, will the law of survival in this world be different? Coming to the third head's side, he shook his head. He understood that his idea was simply a fool's dream. The weak were prey to the strong, and the survival of the fittest. This law was formed when the sky was opened. It could not be changed. Die. Lin Rei's eyes flashed with killing intent. The illusory spirit blood fire rushed out of his body. Saying that, Lin Rei's palm came to the third head's body. The moment the illusory spirit blood fire touched the third head's body, it was like a maggot in his bones. It started from his skin, then his meridians, and finally his Dan Palace and Spirit Sea. Whether it was his soul or his Dan Palace, the moment it was touched by the illusory spirit blood fire, it was as if the flame had found a place to ignite. A hysterical scream came out of the third head's mouth. At this moment, he was rolling on the ground because of the pain. From inside to outside, there was no place that the illusory spirit blood fire did not go to. Senior, aren't you going too far? If you want my third brother to live, you can just kill him. But that's right. Senior, please reconsider. Even if my third brother did something wrong in the past, he has already learned his lesson. Can you make him suffer less? My third brother has always been protected by me and my eldest brother since he was young. He has never suffered much, so, hearing this, Lin Rei looked at the two of them. His expression was touched. He saw the definition of brothers in their eyes. Brothers. This word had not appeared in Lin Rei's heart for a long time. His brother was still in the Xuanzong sect. Brother. After muttering to himself, he came back to his senses. Looking at the two of them, he nodded in agreement. All right, since you two are so close, I will fulfill your request. Thank you. Thank you, Senior. Seeing that Lin Rei had agreed, the two of them were excited. Seeing their brother in such pain, they also felt guilty. After all, this was not what they wanted to see. But there was nothing they could do. Their brother was in the wrong. Seeing that your two elder brothers are quite sensible, I will give you a quick death. Looking at the flaming man on the ground, Linley murmured to himself, then stretched out his hand and pressed it against the third master's forehead. A wild surge of energy entered his body, instantly wiping out all of the third master's life force. In an instant, the third head, who was still struggling because of the pain, fell into silence. Thank you. Seeing that his third brother was no longer in pain, the first head expressed his thanks. Then, he went to the third head and squatted down to tidy up his body. It was strange that although the third head's body had been burned from the inside out by the illusory spirit blood fire, his face was not injured at all. Even his face was ruddy. If someone did not know him, they would definitely think that he was sleeping. This matter is over. As for the disciples who followed him, I will leave them to you. I don't like people lying to me, so you, don't do anything stupid. Hearing this, the first head did not look back. He said in a low voice, don't worry. Even if you don't say it, I will do it. After all, my third brother is gone. It is too unfair for them to stay here. Moreover, I don't want people like them to stay in my blood-soul stockade. So, I promise you. Well, that's good. Seeing that the first head was so straightforward, Lin Ray was also happy to be free. Big brother, third brother. At this time, the first head saw that Lin Ray did not intend to leave, so he asked through voice transmission. Although third brother did something wrong, he is still our brother. Since his matter is over, there is a new matter. As his elder brothers, how can we not avenge our brother's death? Chapter 939. I was still wondering when bandits would be so reasonable. Even when their own brothers were killed, they were still indifferent. Now, it seems that I was wrong. Looking at the first master, who was crouching on the ground and holding his dead brother, Lin Ray sensed a murderous aura. He understood that this fellow was about to make a move. However, he could not figure out why he had to wait until after he killed his brother. Under normal circumstances, as an older brother, he would not allow others to harm his younger brother. However, at this moment, it was the complete opposite. As the saying went, there must be a demon behind the abnormality. Lin Ray vaguely felt that he had been tricked. Hee. Inexplicably, a cold laughter rang out in his mind. Hearing this voice, Lin Ray looked up at the first master, who was crying with his head lowered. He was familiar with this voice. Wasn't it the first master who did not make a move earlier but said that he would take revenge later? Looking at him, Linley probed, speak. If you send a mental message, no one else will be able to hear it. I really want to know why you are acting like this. Logically speaking, shouldn't you have attacked before I even started killing? This is what most brothers would do. However, you are not like this. I really want to know, if you really want your third brother to die, why don't you do it yourself? Don't you think it's troublesome to kill him with a borrowed knife? It's not troublesome. Of course, it's not troublesome. As soon as Linley finished speaking, the first master hurriedly said, third bro only knows how to cause trouble, but so what? He has a powerful ancestor. No matter how much trouble he causes, there will always be someone to support him. What about me? As he spoke, his tone changed, becoming fierce and ferocious. As for me, no matter how great my talent is, so what? Without a powerful ancestor, at most, I'll be looked up to here, but I won't be fully respected by the Tao. Hearing the first master's words, Linley began to understand what he meant. But that wasn't right either. He could tell that the first master's talent was quite good, and that he would be able to get the respect he wanted anywhere he went. But, it's weird, isn't it? Perhaps the first master understood Lin Ray's doubts, so he quickly said, actually, this is very easy to understand. Although the outside world can indeed give me the respect I want, there are no blood soul sect ruins outside. Blood soul sect? Lin Rei was very puzzled by this name. Lin Rei had never heard of this sect in the divine world. Even in the libraries of the few great sects, this name did not exist. However, for someone like the first elder to covet him and disregard the opinions of others, it was easy to imagine how valuable he was. The Blood Soul sect had existed for who knew how many years. In fact, perhaps the entire God realm didn't even remember it. However, it had indeed existed. Moreover, its glory had only informed the God realm. The celestial realm and the entire mortal realm had been ruled by it. When the Blood Soul sect was at its peak, it was extremely powerful. Although it had been defeated and destroyed, the treasures it had left behind were innumerable. Any one of those treasures would be enough to win. Especially when there was the inheritance of the Blood Soul sect. If one could comprehend this kind of technique, not to mention other sects, even the master of the celestial realm would not be able to compete with it. The more the first master spoke, the more excited he became. Perhaps the Blood Soul sect was too attractive, so much so that he had forgotten the existence of the second master beside him. Big brother, you. Looking at such a repulsive big brother, the second master took a step back. His face was filled with fear and disbelief. This was the first time he had seen such a first master. The impression he had of the first master was that he was gentle and kind. But now, the person in front of him right now was completely different from the person in his mind. He was simply a negative example of the perfect big brother in his mind. It's fine, second brother. That person killed third brother. Go and ask the old ancestor for help. If he knows about third brother's death, he will definitely come out to help. While you're away, I'll do my best to stop him and delay him until the ancestor arrives. Do you hear me? He didn't want to linger on the second head's words, so he quickly changed the topic. It had to be said that the first master's ability to change the topic was very strong. The second master, who was still afraid, was stunned. Then, he nodded his head and said, I understand, big brother. Is it really okay for you to stay here alone? Why don't I go quickly? Otherwise, it will be too late. Without waiting for the second master to finish his words, the first master directly reached out and grabbed the second master's wrist. Then, the second master's figure suddenly disappeared into the horizon. However, Lin Rei did not stop the first master's action. It was not because he was arrogant, but because there was really no need to do so. Looking at the first master's action, Lin Rei lightly opened his red lips and said, Are you done? If you are, then do it. I really want to see what kind of capital you have. As for the ruins of the Blood Soul sect, I am interested. So you can withdraw. Finishing his words, the primal chaos dragon spear appeared in his hand. Waves of dragon roars that shook the firmament continuously surged out from the spear. The sound was so loud that it made people feel suffocated. Ah, your words are quite big. But do you think you have the chance? Saying that, the first master acted. A long saber appeared in his hand. He raised it and pointed it at Lin Rei, saying with disdain, Do you think you can do anything to me just because you killed the trash third brother? Do you really think I used all my strength just now? Ridiculous. AI. Looking at the first master, Lin Rei disdainfully shook his head. He did not want to explain too much to this kind of person. But seeing how stupid he was, Lin Rei could not bear it and finally said, I really don't know where you get your confidence from. Is it because of your identity as the first master of the Blood Soul stronghold? Or is it because of your middle stage God Emperor cultivation? Oh, or is it because of that old ancestor whom you asked that foolish brat to invite? You, how did you know that I? Looking at Lin Rei, the first master widened his eyes. He had a startled expression. He did not tell anyone about his identity as a middle stage God Emperor. Even that old ancestor who was in closed-door cultivation for many years did not know about it. But, short-sighted. Lin Rei did not reply to the first master's question. Instead, he said to himself, Yes, your talent is not bad. But with your short-sighted character, you are destined to stop here. So, finishing his words, he did not give the first master a chance to speak. With a flash, he appeared in front of the first master with the primal chaos dragon spear. He sneered, with this little strength, it's good that you remembered to stop me. TSK, you are so formidable. Peng, a muffled sound followed by the sound of breaking through the air could be heard. One could see a black figure flying out rapidly. Pooh, a lump of blood fog appeared in the air, followed by a painful cry. Pooh Tong, the black figure landed on the ground. He rolled on the ground for a long time before stopping with difficulty. The black figure was none other than the first master. It's just that at this moment, the first master's appearance was different from before. As it turned out, in the instant that Lin Li had arrived in front of the first master, he had thrown out his primal chaos dragon spear. The handle of the spear had smashed against the first master's body, causing the first master's body to fly backwards uncontrollably. It was precisely because of this that the current scene happened. Ah, you are really weak. Looking at the first master who was lying on the ground and struggling to get up, Lin Rei said with disdain, this is the strength that you want to rely on. In my eyes, you are nothing. Saying that, he appeared in front of the first master with a flash. Extending his hand, a suction force appeared, sucking the first master who was lying on the ground like a dead dog into his palm. Kill then. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not knowing what is good for you. Originally, you could have had a relatively good life, but you did not know how to cherish it. You even want to die and want to kill me. I hope that there are many people like you, but those people were strangled in the cradle by me before they could kill me. I don't like the feeling of people staring at me and wanting to kill me, especially people like you who have a deep heart. Next time, you must be reincarnated into a good body. Don't think about having a deep heart like this for the rest of your life. Saying that, without giving the first master a chance to speak, he raised his hand and slapped the top of the first master's head with a destructive force. Sigh, was it going to be like this? Looking at Lin Rei, the first master regretted. He regretted making a move. He regretted having a murderous intent towards him. It was too late to say anything. Feeling that death was getting closer and closer to him, the first master finally chose to close his eyes and not look anymore. Just like that, he closed his eyes and waited for death to come. But who knew that when Lin Rei's palm was only a hand away from the first master's head, a tyrannical voice resounded in the air chat. Even Lin Rei was a little surprised. How dare you? He turned around and looked towards the direction of the voice. He saw two black figures rushing towards him from the sky. Heh! Is that the great ancestor that this guy was talking about? Looking at the two figures, one of them was the second master who was thrown out by the first master. This person's strength is very strong. Furthermore, the roar just now was mixed with a sound wave type cultivation technique. Lin Rei could not help but be vigilant towards the person who appeared. From the roar just now, he could feel that the person's strength was very strong. Although his cultivation level was only at the intermediate ultimate god realm, his combat strength was not lower than the complete ultimate god realm. That was also the reason why Lin Rei was vigilant. Great! Great, the great ancestor is here. Looks like I'm not going to die yet. Hearing Lin Rei's soft voice, the first master opened his eyes. When he saw the person who came, the fire of hope reignited in his eyes. He always felt that as long as the great ancestor was here, he would not die yet. However, he did not know that the more he thought about it, the more Lin Rei wanted to kill him. As he said, if you cut the grass without removing the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Especially for a person who had the intention to kill, so, how dare you? Hee, you shouldn't have said that to me because the more you act like this, the faster I will kill him. So, die. As he said that, he used the soul-searching technique to investigate all the information about the blood-soul sex ruins in the first master's mind. Then, the illusory spirit blood fire rushed out and spread to the first master's body. Ah, a blood-curdling scream was heard, but it only lasted for a moment and then there was no more sound. As for the first master, he was being carried by Lin Rei. His face was pale and his eyes were staring blankly ahead. In the distance, the two people came to Lin Rei. However, they were furious when they noticed that the person in Lin Rei's hand was dead. Bastard, who are you? Why did you come to my blood soul stronghold and kill people so wantonly? The old man who came with the second master was not in a hurry to make a move. After all, he was already so old. If he did not understand the situation and rashly made a move, he would have died many times. Old ancestor, he killed big brother and third brother. At the side, when the second head saw that the person he invited did not take action and instead asked about the whole story, he immediately panicked when he recalled that he and the first head did not save the third head when he was about to die. If this matter was revealed by Lin Rei, would he still be alive? Would he still be the second master of the blood soul stronghold? The answer at that time was no. In order to not let everything he had now go to waste, the second head hurriedly said, "Old ancestor, third brother died in a very painful manner. Even when he died, he was still shouting for you to save him. However, things happened too quickly at that time, so, great ancestor, it's him. Third brother was tortured by him when he was alive. Great ancestor, you can't let him go. You must kill him. You must." The second master's face could not be seen clearly. However, Lin Rei knew that the person in front of him was on his must-kill list. Gong-er. Gong-er died in a very painful manner. Hearing the words from the side, the second master was stunned. His eyes were filled with tears. His originally stooped figure became even more stooped. He looked as if he was 1,000 years old. Yes, third brother died in a very painful manner. In the distance, Lin Rei was speechless when he heard the conversation between the two. However, he did not have the impulse to explain. Humph, with a cold snort, he threw the first master's body in his hand away and finally fell to the ground. However, at this moment, no one was paying attention to the body. The scene became silent and was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Do you want to make a move? Looking at the second master, Lin Rei spoke unhurriedly. His tone was full of indifference. I am Xuanning, the founder of this blood soul stronghold. Today, you came to my territory and did not greet me. However, you should not have killed my descendant. All right. Don't dawdle like a woman. If you want to make a move, hurry up. Haven't you heard the saying? If you can make a move, don't force it. The anger that was originally suppressed completely erupted the moment he heard Lin Rei's words. Humph, you have a glib tongue. However, I don't know how strong you are. When the time comes, sigh. Stop wasting time. Seeing that Xuanning was still talking, Lin Rei shook his head helplessly. A glint flashed in his eyes. Then, he clenched the Chaos Dragon Spear and rushed toward Xuanning. Martial God Stratagem. Lin Rei used the Martial God Stratagem. Lin Rei felt that it was necessary to fight against Xuanning. Not only him, but also the enemies that he encountered, whether weak or strong, as long as they fought with him, they were worthy of his final effort. Spear intent? You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.